Folks, welcome to the end. We did it, folks. We have reached the end of Vanderpump Rules Season 11. This is So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is your pal Ryan, and we are covering the third and final part of the season 11 reunion. Folks, whatever happens in these next 8 hours between you, me, and this podcast, let's agree to walk away as friends. Whether we agree, whether we disagree, whether you find some of this funny, whether you find some of this annoying, we did it. We did something. Screw this cast. Listen, they get paid for this stuff. We're boots on the ground. We put our hearts and souls into this season, into this show, and we are finally on summer break after this. Well, now not entirely. There is a Secrets Revealed episode that just got released on Peacock, and I was just skimming through the episode. You guys, it's insane. I might even have to do a little piece of a scene. That there's a scene in the Secrets Revealed episode, you guys, where Tom Sandoval's hanging out with Schwartz and Kyle Chan at some restaurant, and they ask Tom, he's like, I'm thinking about freezing my sperm, dude. And then they ask how many people Tom has had sex with since Rachel, and he's like, oh, I'm thinking if I want to be honest about this or not. And then he says, 3, dude, 3. And then Schwartz is like, oh my God, dude, like I gotta give you props, dude. You're like sober. Like that takes a lot of courage to he goes, that takes a lot of courage. That takes a lot of courage to have sex like completely sober. It is so dark. It is so dark. And then Schwartz is like, I've only had sex with one person lately, and it rhymes with schmo. And it's Joe also. And then there's like a waitress or like a hostess at this restaurant that comes over and says something, and they're like, oh, she's hot, dude. You should like get her digits. Like you need to move on. And then he goes up to the hostess and he's like, what's up, dude? Can I get your Instagram? And she's like, okay, sure. And he's like, dude, I shit you not. He goes, I just recently got out. He goes, I just recently got out of a 9-year relationship with my girlfriend, dude, because I cheated on her. He goes, and like, it was all over the news and stuff, and like everybody made such a big deal, dude. And then he goes, "It's not like I'm not even that famous." I wasn't expecting that. I was just skimming through the Secrets Revealed episode. That scene is so gnarly. Oh my God. They're sitting on a gold mine over there of dumb Tom Sandoval and Schwartz scenes. Like, I was just shocked to see that. And then there's a scene with Joe and Schwartz. There's a scene with Katie and Tori. Remember the girl that her and Schwartz competed over? Like another scene with her. There's a scene in San Francisco where when they dressed up that first night before the finale, it was a murder mystery party and they show the actual game. And Katie's like, basically, this game sucks. I got to tell you, I haven't even watched the whole episode, but I was like, I thought I was completely done last night. Like, first time watching this, it left me with completely bad vibes, as every episode this season is done. And then I watched it again and I was like, okay, I think I have a take on this. I think I'm feeling it. And I still was like, oh, maybe I'm just completely done with Vanderpump Rules. But then I watched some of that Secrets Revealed and I was like, God, there's so much in this. There's so much to make fun of and laugh about and speculate on. And I want to say that is, first off, thank you guys for being here with me in this show all season long. The Vanderpump Rules is so entwined in my life and my love of pop culture and reality shows. But at the same time, there's been such a negative connotation with this show because of Sandoval. Now, a lot of people, just to start we always say this, I've always held true to this. And after we do the recap, we're going to go over a couple of articles and a couple of podcasts, Lala, Katie with Ariana, and then there's an Alex Baskin interview with the Hollywood Reporter that answers some questions. And one of them being, will Vanderpump Rules continue? And he says, yeah, it will continue. It might not be. It's exactly what I've been saying the last couple of months. It might not continue in the way that it's not going to be all the same characters potentially, but it's going to continue. And it's not going to continue out of some kind of noble, oh, wow, the art of it all. No, it's going to continue because it's making money. It's going to continue because it's the top show on Bravo. Do you know how hard it is to be in the zeitgeist of anything in popular culture these days? There is so much competition for your attention out there. And Vanderpump Rules, their attention economy is still strong. It's like this is the Vanderpump Rules State of the Union. And I got to say, even with all of this, bad vibes, bad feelings, the union is still strong. You might be rolling your eyes, but trust me, is there any other show out there? And hopefully there is some for you guys to answer personally for yourself, but is there any other show that inspires this much anger and conversation? And as I get further and further in doing this, I realize that anger, unfortunately, is a key component in entertainment. It is that thing, conflict, of course. And I don't even know if conflict resolution is even that important anymore. And Vanderpump Rules, if you look at it almost like a collegiate essay, you would kind of say that at this point, 11 seasons in, this show is realistically not even supposed to still be going because most reality shows don't exist for this long. But if you exist on season 11 of a reality show, you're going to have to turn it on its ear. It is going to have to drop some of the facetiousness in terms of, we're all people that work at SIR. They've already stopped doing that ridiculousness, but you have to actually turn the camera on itself and hold a mirror up to their actual lives, which means more meta storylines. And some people really shy away from that. There was a lot of talk on Meta about Meta in the final episode and the reunion. Lala seems to be having a field day with it. Oh my goodness, the Lala of it all. Oh, I have so many thoughts to share with you guys. So I hope you're buckled in for a very long podcast episode. I hope my voice is buckled in for a very long podcast episode, but let's try to, if we can, and I'm talking to you, Ryan, right now, let's try to make this as fun as possible. Let's try to be as silly as possible because we're going to make some points. We're going to probably say some things that you will disagree with. But I will still hold true to the fact that this could have been the easiest, most fun season for this cast to film. Well, for the females of it to film, because all they needed to do was band together as the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and go up against these men, and not even go up against, but just shine a light of, let me remind you of all the stupidity each one of these men on this stage has done. From Brock to DJ James Kennedy to Schwartz to Sandoval, everybody. I can't believe they didn't mention me, Ryan. Shut up, Ken. I'll get to you. I can't believe it. Lisa has locked me in a cage and I can't believe it. She says I can't come on the show anymore because I was such a star after my jacuzzi line. I can't believe it. No, Ken, it's going to be fine, buddy. I will say there are little peculiarities that I miss about this show. I do miss the Ken Todd appearance. I do miss Peter Madrigal, even just in a very, very, very small role. Or even poor Anne took over, not poor Anne, but Anne took over Peter Madrigal's. Remember at the end of the reunions, Peter Madrigal would have his big shining moment and he would bring out a shot for everybody to toast with at the reunions. I miss that. I hang my hat on tradition. Tradition. And it should be the same for Vanderpump Rules. But this could have been the easiest season in the world because it could have been so fun and funny because every scene that these guys did, and I'm not an idiot. I will say watching Schwartz and Sandoval try to just exist in the world is hysterically funny. They will be back in every season of Vanderpump Rules because they get themselves in so much trouble and they say some of the most insane things. And I think part of it is actually truth. I think genuinely they don't know how to move through the world, but yet they have been given good looks, money, so many opportunities. And I think that's the funny thing. But if the women were to have pointed this out, like Ariana tried to, even like Scheana and Lala did a little bit at the beginning of the season or at the end of last season, this would have been a way different season. It wouldn't have been. I just feel like it's so unfortunate that Lala, and I'm almost making excuses for her at this point, felt the need to save the show, felt the need to say, I must pick up the bat of production. I am a producer's pet. I am looking for the overall health of the show. I must save the show by going against Ariana in some fashion. Now, there are certain points that Lala does make, but I don't know if this was even the season to make them. It's wild. Is this the season to question Ariana in the way that she is questioned? And the sad thing is, Lala is hung out to dry. And for somebody that proclaims to be so smart and so savvy and just a bad bitch walking these streets trying to rebrand, she gets used a lot. I felt like production at certain points used her to put their message out. And I don't know if she understood that until the final moments of this reunion, that potentially she was used in some interesting ways and that she wasn't smart enough to catch on to it. The other thing I am so curious about as I watch the season and these final episodes was what I just said about Lala saving the show. I must save the show. Ariana became God, and I was so mad in San Francisco thinking that we ruined the season. We didn't get the finale that the audience and stuff like that deserved. And Ariana very correctly is like, well, isn't it interesting to watch me walk out? Isn't that interesting? That's not something you see all the time. Because what? We're going to get a Tom Sandoval crying scene, which we've seen multiple times every season for 11 seasons. This was something new. But Lala didn't stop to think of, wait a sec, the show doesn't need to be saved. Like, think about that. Lala and Scheana and certain other cast members went through the season thinking that this season all of a sudden wasn't good. They weren't living up to some sort of expectations that they put in their minds or production put in their minds. When all the whole time we were hanging on every word. We might not have loved everything, but we certainly had conversations about it. We certainly got our imaginations kicking every week. So what needed to be saved? Still getting huge ratings. I mean, if you look at any other ratings on Bravo right now, Summer House dealing with like a 0.46 rating on its best season ever. Summer House Martha's Vineyard, which just got put on pause, was a 0.267 for their reunion. Now that means ratings, like just in the same day ratings, like a 0.267 kind of means around 267,000 people watch that. Vanderpump Rules averages around 1 million an episode. That's just same day. That doesn't take into account Peacock, repeated viewings, 7-day viewings. And what that figure is for this season is 4.5 million people watch Vanderpump Rules every week. On top of that, it's the right type of people, the right age range for advertisers to advertise to. This is the show that you want to advertise on. I mean, you've seen it. You've seen the quality of commercials increase. The brands, American Express, Chili's, tons of like Pampers commercials. I mean, all sorts of really name brand, name restaurants, movies advertising on Vanderpump Rules. So there was nothing to be saved. And that's what I think Lala coming in and like, oh, this is like, I don't know why she felt something needed to be saved when it was like, no, it's great. It's what it needed to be. Of course, we all can play Monday morning quarterback and think about all the storylines that we missed out, or why didn't this person move here? Or why didn't this person say this? But usually that's not with Ariana. That's with everybody else in this circle. I still think one of the greatest tricks Sandoval ever pulled is literally at this point, this final part of the reunion almost becomes Lala and Ariana as opposed to Ariana and Sandoval. Like there was so much opportunity to really nail things down. Like Sandoval, think about it. He got off easy this reunion. I mean, just easy. Like he had it almost the easiest up there. I mean, compared to last season finale, of course, but still there are so many unanswered questions. I mean, how did Lala end up being what the audience, the majority of the audience, considers the main villain of season 11? I mean, isn't that wild to think about? And you guys might be outliers and go, no, I love Lala. I see what she did. I think, well, like took a bullet. Took a bullet for what? Took a bullet for who? For production? For somebody that just shouts about being real all the time. Oh, real. I've got to stay real. Oh, meta this and meta that, real. She came off as one of the faker people on this show. And what I keep saying to you guys, and I'm sorry if you're sick of some of these things that I keep saying, was that Lala made it painfully obvious that we were watching a reality show. The whole thing is to sell soap and to have escapism in our lives. Listen, I don't even know basically how to even do proper hygiene on myself. But what I do know, what I do feel confident in is talking about these people's lives. And yes, that is so very sad. But that's what it is for a lot of us. We do this to escape our lives, to have some joy, to maybe put our own lives in perspective, but to say, hey, I don't know how to live my life, but I sure as heck know how to live theirs, right? I sure know when something feels weird over here and when something feels wrong. My God, I wish I could do that for my own life, but I can't. But what I can do is do it for this show. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. We watch these things and we make not even snap judgments because we've lived with these characters now for 11 seasons. But Lala to me is just such a riddle, or maybe it's not a riddle. Maybe it's very simple. And there are just so many moments in this reunion finale with Scheana going to Lala over Ariana at the end. You know, Scheana can't help but be Scheana. And you see the deep insecurity and the deep fear and how she prioritizes friendships or who is there in that moment, who has been there this year the most. And it's almost like she has this scorecard in her head. Whereas I've always kind of thought of friendships, they have seasons, right? There'll be seasons with friendships. Sometimes you will be so joined at the hip with somebody in your life. And then sometimes life happens and there'll be years where it won't be that same kind of strong bond. But then something will happen in your life and you pick back up right where you left off. And that's the beauty of friendship, right? But I think Scheana also looks at things of like the here and now. And Ariana's hard to get on the phone, or Ariana, it's hard for her to text back, but Lala's there all the time. Lala's answering my text. You know, you can see the conflict in her when, she can't accept these. I mean, I walked away from the reunion and I've thought this about Scheana a lot this season. It's just like, you almost want to tell Scheana, next season, I hope at some point you can realize you are enough. Who cares if Ariana's not answering your texts? Who cares if Lala is mad at you? You started this show, girl. You were the first, you were the beginning of Vanderpump Rules. And I hate to see such deep insecurity in somebody that has been there for 11 seasons where you can tell this just frazzles her. And she sometimes picks the wrong person to ally with, or she'll try to be so understanding to somebody else's point of view that she will make it her own. And then I feel she gets into the off season. And by the way, this is all speculation. You get in the off season and it probably still tortures her. And you're like, God, you could be so strong. You could be the final boss on this show if you just threw away. And that's so hard because, right, in life, we can't just throw away who we are. Unfortunately, I'm the same person in so many ways that I was as a kid that I am now. And I was just complaining about that an hour ago. I swear to God. I was like, what's frustrating is that no matter how many good things happen in my life, I'm still the same person I was when I was a kid. And God, that sucks sometimes. So, okay, I know I'm just going all over the place. We got to get into it, but you guys don't mind. You're here, right? You want to be here. It's a long thing. Let's do this. You know the deal at this point. Hold on. Sorry, I got a text. Actually, exciting news. I'm going to host my dream are to do red carpets. Well, they're doing a red carpet tomorrow for this award show in Hollywood called the Golden Trailer Awards that celebrates advertising of like movie trailers, movie posters, all of these kind of amazing things. And a listener, shout out to Allison, was listening and she's involved in this event and recommended me to do red carpet for this to interview the nominees of these golden trailer nominees. And I'm so excited. I love movie trailers so much. When I was a kid, I wished that I could go see just a full movie, like an hour and a half trailer. Like I would just go to movies just to see trailers. Like I used to get so excited about movie trailers. Were you ever like that? Like I just loved it so much. Now with AMC movie theaters, it's gotten ridiculous. If you go to an AMC movie theater, they show 30 trailers on top of 30 commercials. It's like an hour before you get to the actual movie. That's why you miss the old days of ArcLight where they just had a 3 trailer max. But man, I'm so excited. So wish me luck. I hope everything goes well. But I'm so thankful and grateful to have the opportunity. So, okay, back to this also. I just want to also point out, if you think about Lala, also try to think about it in the sense of DJ James Kennedy too, of their two different journeys. Is that Lala and DJ James Kennedy, when they came on the show, they relied on each other so heavily and they were like the toxic twins. They would get hammered, like make fun of the cast, make fun of Katie, all of this stuff. They really came up together in that sense. And it is interesting to see them now, both what I believe to be sober, both growing up in weird ways, in good ways. James wanting to have a family, Lala having her own family, being pregnant even throughout this reunion, which she reminds us of many times. But also very interesting is that DJ James Kennedy like didn't have Lala's back in the way she was processing this season in the reunion. And I find that interesting. You know, I think it's really interesting to see DJ James Kennedy where he is, where he has that residency in Vegas, where he is playing some of the biggest venues of his entire career. I mean, performed at EDC a couple of weekends ago, the after party at Coachella. I mean, it really is this insane glow up that I know he's been working hard for in terms of his music for a long time. But it's interesting. It's wow. It's like DJ James Kennedy, if you don't even really if you stop to think about it, has set himself up more for his future after Vanderpump Rules than the majority of this cast has. If Tom Sandoval loses Vanderpump Rules eventually, or suddenly they decide to stop moving on with another season, you have 5% in Tom Tom, right? You have Schwartz and Sandy's, which I'm sure they're not anywhere near the black yet, even though that they said they were. I mean, these are things that you put a lot of money into. You see that he's struggling with where he's going to potentially live. I mean, Schwartz, I'm sure has sucked some money away, but a lot of that got invested in Schwartz and Sandy's. What do all of these people do afterwards? I mean, Scheana, she has a lot of brand deals. She has her YouTube channel. She has Shenanigans, which I know does really well. Lala, think about it, she has Give Them Lala, which I know took a hit because of this season, but she's still, you know, highly sought after, I would imagine, for brand deals. And she has purchased 2 houses, you know, which gets brought up in this episode. She had the Send It to Daryl merch, but where does Lala go after this? But DJ James Kennedy, if you think about it, really truly has this skill that is untouched by reality. In fact, the only way it's touched by reality in the fact that we promote his DJing so much. It's a part of his storyline every season. But he can do this even if the show goes away. And I think that's really interesting. I don't know enough about electronic music. Like, I know what I like and what I don't like, but I'm not in the minutia of electronic music, that I don't know what he is if he's considered an actual good DJ or he's considered stunt casting. But I imagine if you're getting these opportunities, you got to be good to a degree. I saw him in Vegas during BravoCon, and it was fun. He was great. But at the same time, I don't even know what's bad. Like, I'm a guy, like, I'd like Daft Punk. I like Justice. Those are like kind of the electronic DJs and music I like. But there is so many DJs out there. So I'm like, is he good? Like, I like it. But by the way, I would have probably liked it if he just played the Vanderpump Rules theme 30 times in a row. Each time I'd be like, again, yes, again. By the way, I keep saying I want you guys to play the Vanderpump Rules theme at my funeral, but also maybe, and I don't know if we could pitch in like a GoFundMe when I pass, is like, maybe we get could DJ James Kennedy like play my funeral? Is that like, at my mom's funeral, it was at a Catholic church and there wasn't a DJ at all. I didn't even suggest it because it wasn't the time, but maybe at my funeral, maybe we get like a DJ set up. We could do like, we could do all the bad tropes from reality shows. We could do like a fashion show. We could actually do another funeral, just not my funeral, but a second funeral for Dog the Lizard from season 8 of Vanderpump Rules. Like, we really just make it a Vanderpump Rules themed funeral. The more I talk about this, the more I do scare myself, because I'm like, oh shit, I'm probably going to pass next week. And then this is going to be a clip that they pull where they play in like odd corners of the internet of like, crazy man that loves Vanderpump Rules predicts his death. Then they throw a Vanderpump Rules themed funeral. It's going to be a horrible BuzzFeed article. Okay. Anyways, how are you? How are you guys doing? We're 25 minutes in. I didn't even get to ask how are you. I'm sure I've read a lot of like people's comments about this, and it seems like people are just done. People are sad. People are frustrated. People are angry. All of these emotions, which I do want to point out, are still emotions. You're still feeling something. How many shows or how many reality shows do we step away from where we feel nothing? Sometimes I will watch entire seasons of Selling Sunset and I'll be like, yeah, anyway, like, and you forget about it immediately. I wonder how this summer is going to go. I wonder how their podcasts are going to go. Are we going to stop talking about it? Are they going to stop talking about it? Are they going to allow themselves to actually go out and touch grass and live some sort of life so they can come back when season 12 happens and we can find out, and they can kind of show us what life they've been leading. And I think they've been in this bubble for so long, and especially these last year and a half, these last 2 years, that they do need a little bit of break, even if they don't realize it or their bank accounts realize it. I'm curious also if Lala is going to not soften the softer side of Lala, but change and truly realize, I think, what some of the audience is trying to tell her, and what some of her own cast members are trying to tell her. And, think about what it does mean to be a good friend. I mean, because after this reunion, you cannot tell me that she truly gives one iota of a shit care about Ariana at all. And I don't mean that like she's evil. I just mean that I don't think they run in the same circles. She says at the very end of the reunion, like, I don't care. I don't even really talk to Ariana anyways. So they're admitting my like kind of statement of like, these are coworkers at this point. Because think about the reality of this situation. Would you ever allow yourself to continually hang out with this friend group? If this was your true friend group and you were not on camera, would you ever agree to keep hanging out with these people with all the shit that they've done to each other? Would you? Think about your own friend groups. Is it anywhere near? And if it is anywhere near, I'm going to need you to email me because I'm going to try to pitch a show around you and sell it to Bravo. It's like, if you have a friend group like this, I need you to email me at So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey because I'm getting into producing, baby. Let's do this. But otherwise, you wouldn't. So they're coworkers. But I will say for Lala to come out with these strong statements of like, if you don't give a fuck about your paycheck, I'm sure I need you to give a fuck about mine. Well, yeah, but that only happens if you actually genuinely give a fuck about somebody else. If you actually engage somebody. Sometimes if people actually just stop caring, and I will say, you see Katie, especially in this reunion, where she has reached her final form. Remember back in the old days when Katie would get all flustered and sad and crying at the reunions and angry? Man, this is a different Katie. Katie is truly does not give a rip. She didn't get rattled by Lala, didn't even get rattled in the least by Joe, didn't get rattled by Sandoval. I mean, she truly seems over it. And that's a very strong position for her to be in. But I will say it also is kind of scary if you're producing a reality show, I would imagine, because it does thrive on conflict. It does thrive on arguments and conversation. And if somebody's like, I don't really care, where do you go with that? Do you give Ariana and Katie a spinoff? Do you do a something about her spinoff? Listen, I don't know. I mean, it would have to be them at the leads and you cast a bunch of crazy characters around them. That could work. Who knows? But I do wonder how this group, even though it will continue regardless, I do wonder how entertaining it could be because at this point, you can see a lot of them just genuinely don't care about each other. They're those people that it reminds me of like when back in back in high school when you had your shitty holiday job and you'd go to the mall and it would be like the busy days before the like Christmas and stuff and you just get slammed. You get slammed and the people you're working with, you're like, "Oh my god, we're working nonstop. This is crazy." And then after the holiday ends, you're like, "We all got through it together as a team." But you don't love those people. You like them a lot. You don't love them. You went through something crazy. You went through a holiday rush together. These people have went on an 11-year extended holiday rush at this point, and they're coworkers. And I hope they can get to a point where they come together and be like, I can't believe we're still together. This is wild. But it's weird because it involves people's true feelings and relationships. So that's where it's completely different than your normal jobs because your heart is involved in it. And the thing is, you can't close your heart off in reality TV, which I think is one of the points that Tom Sandoval tries to make. It's just that Tom Sandoval is not the person to make that point because he's an active 24/7 liar. But there is something of like, we want to see people that don't close their hearts off like we would in normal lives. Because it's like, you ain't getting another crack at this heart. No, you ain't going to be my friend. You ain't going to be my lover. No, it is done. Click. I guess I'm a Taurus, so that's like one of like when people read it, like I can cut people yeah. If you cross me to a certain point where I'm not comfortable, clip. You're like you're done. Like I don't look back in that sense. I might feel bad or sad or something like that, but no. Like once I feel like you have abused to a certain point, done. Like it's just done. So I wonder how these people can continually step up to the plate, and I'm sure a paycheck truly does help in those matters. But you also don't want to see people up there collecting a paycheck. That's what I said earlier to the point where Lala, it's so frustrating because she makes you realize you watch a reality show and she makes you realize she needs the paycheck. And I'm like, I'm worried about my own fucking 401k that I don't have. Why am I having to worry about yours? I'm trying to get to the truth of this like fucking cheating relationship. I don't care if you're worried about where your next paycheck comes from. To me, meta is great. But meta, when we start talking about finances, save that for the podcast. I don't want shows to be fighting over, because then what you're going to get is, why is Ariana getting paid more than me? What is Ariana going to dictate? I've never gotten to dictate. Why on certain mirrors, this is off topic, why on certain mirrors do you look good and certain mirrors you look like shit? What's the deal? Why can't, why not just one type of mirror? Like I truly, like the one mirror I go and look at in the bathroom, I look like okay. And then there's another mirror in this room I look at and I look like complete shit. I feel like it should be illegal to sell different, like you can sell different sizes, but it should still be the same reflective mirror part. By the way, after Vanderpump Rules, I'm going to be starting to deep dive these serious issues like mirrors. That's where we're going from here. I want to do a special thank you to Juliana Carosa, who took the notes on Vanderpump Rules this episode. And for the majority of the season, you can tell the episode she didn't, because it would just be me stammering over myself, which I guess I kind of do every episode. But Juliana Carosa, just truly amazing. I am so sad that this season is over, because it is just always great to have her as a part of our team. So thank you, Juliana, for all of this. It's funny when you take notes on a show like this. I've done it for many years on many shows, and I still do it for certain shows, and it drives you mad. It drives you crazy. You get to know a show in a completely different way when you are transcribing what these goofballs say, and it can really, really, I know this sounds crazy. It can mess with your moods. Like you're just like, oh my God, because your brain, it becomes like a script. And if you come from a theater background, and I'm not trying to sound pretentious, because I went to ASU, but in the theater background, the script is your God. Like it is the thing that gives you all the directions. So you start looking at this thing like a play, and you look at like what the script can tell you about these characters in this show. It's your roadmap. It's this thing that will, kind of reveal all of the underpinnings and the psychological makeup of each one of these characters. So for me, it's essential. It really also ruins the show in some way, not the notes, but like this, because people are like, why do you do every line? I don't know. It just becomes the kind of thing where it's almost OCD, where it's like, I got to do every scene. And some scenes, I tried it with the Valley last night. I skipped some scenes. I did a really short recap of the Valley. And I think sometimes I'm just so used to doing all of it, because I feel like every part of it, there's some sort of nugget in there. Um, and especially with Vanderpump Rules, it just, at this point, there's 11 seasons of all of these underpinnings of these characters, where if you talk about one line, it's going to harken back to something on season 7, season 8. And so you have this kind of breadth of material to pull from. It becomes Shakespearean in its tragedy. And it's like a body of work at this point. So anyways, Juliana Carosa, thank you. And also thank you to Maritza Lopez and Sandra Freier, who I work with and help me as much as they possibly can, even though it's sometimes hard for me to help myself. So thank you to the So Bad It's Good team. Let's get into it finally. 34 minutes in, Vanderpump Rules, Season 11, Episode 18, Reunion Part 3. This is the description the cable company gives us. Ariana breaks her no contact rule with Sandoval, leaving both in tears. Scheana defends her actions and suggests her rift with Ariana started well before the summer. Katie blames Sandoval for the downfall of her relationship with Schwartz. So that's what they give us. Now, the no contact rule with Ariana is just so interesting, because I feel like we need a different word for it, because it's like no direct communication, maybe, because no contact. No, it's like she's had many scenes with Sandoval this season. That's the big thing of like, she's been there. She's been around Sandoval. She's showed up at events. The only event she didn't go to, because they were doing something about her stuff, was the Tahoe event. But the Tahoe event was necessary so the rest of the cast could start thawing out the ice between them and Sandoval. So it was like a perfect time for Ariana and Katie to not be there. But the no contact thing, I think people make a little bit more of it than it actually should be, because in reality, who would actually be around their ex that did this to them 3 months after the fact, right? Yeah. Okay, so Andy says, tonight, it's the shocking finale of the Vanderpump Rules reunion. And we get clips from what we're about to see, so we're not going to do that. We start now. We pick back up exactly where we left off last week. Now, remember, this is the Peacock extended version we are doing, so if you feel like I didn't remember seeing that scene, it's because it's the extended version, which adds about 9 extra minutes, and I love it. I wish they would have added 10 extra minutes. I would have watched it. So we picked up between DJ James Kennedy and Sandoval, right? And they're fighting. And DJ James Kennedy's like, you roll your eyes like that, but you were totally fine when Raquel took fucking graham cracker from me and you became his secret new daddy, getting your dick wet for 7 months. Daddy boy. Okay, dude, stop, dude. I'm keeping my mouth shut, dude, about things that I've heard, but they add up, dude. They add up. Oh, shut the fuck up, Sandoval. You haven't heard shit. Get off your high horse, dude. Brother, I'm galloping so far ahead of you, bro. I can't even see you in the distance. Oh, that's great, dude. That's great, man. You're in a swamp, bro. Sinking quick. Fucking eat a dick. And Sandoval's like, you fucking need a dick too, dude. You fucking need, hey, you have a 3-course meal of a dick, dude. You start with like a dick appetizer, dude, and then maybe order like a dick diet soda, and then you move on to a dick main course, dude, and then maybe just in it have a dick dessert, dude. I also want to say there is a lot of like, it's not homophobia, but it is a lot of homophobic slander in the fact that Sandoval still has the humor of a 13-year-old throughout these reunions and potentially his whole life now that I'm thinking about it. Or maybe, they say, your personality freezes the year that you get on reality television. And maybe in his 20s, his personality was frozen. So he still thinks making gay jokes is hysterical. Of like, don't do anything below the waist, dude. I got lockjaw from sucking dick and then I shit out a condom, dude. And Andy, how dare you laugh at this shit, dude? Andy's a proud gay man. Like the fact that Andy's like, I'm curious what we're all laughing about. And even DJ James can suck a dick, dude. You must suck a dick. The only person that's allowed to say that is Kristen Doute. And that's by just, that's an exemption. I don't even feel great about it, but you got to let Doute say it. But Tom Sandoval making like, these dudes bandying back like, eat a dick, dude. Eat that dick. Oh, you eat the dick, dude. You're going to eat. Oh, I can't believe everybody's trying to eat a dick. I'm trying to sleep. I can't believe that. Like, eat a dick. Like, guys, you're nearing 40 years old. Like, maybe like, let's not eat a dick, Maybe let's be nice to a dick, but not eat a dick. Come on. So the extended scene, Andy's like, all right, James, when you went to Sandoval's birthday party, you asked him if he was sorry for the ultimate betrayal. In your eyes, how did he betray you? Well, he was banging my ex-fiancée while living with his current girlfriend. We were all friends, and I was his brother. DJ James Kennedy is so stuck in the lore of this show sometimes, and at the same time, you almost believe him that he really did think Sandoval was his brother, and it almost adds to or gives reason for the deep pain you feel with DJ James Kennedy when he does have scenes with Sandoval, because it's almost like he bought into it when Sandoval has now referred to it many times with like, dude, I was on a show, dude. Yeah, I helped you with Raquel, dude, but it was like I wanted to do something cool for the show, dude. It almost makes it seem like DJ James Kennedy to Sandoval was an afterthought. Like, oh, dude, you're an idiot, dude. Also, Tom Sandoval referring to, I've heard things about you, dude, and they add up. You have to imagine that Rachel told him nightmare stories about DJ James Kennedy. You have to imagine, of course, the Doute stuff is out there. Now, we still haven't confronted that issue, and it's like something that I speculate, will that ever come out in season 12? And if it comes out in season 12, how will DJ James Kennedy and the show handle it? But if we're talking about meta, if we're talking about breaking down walls, I am curious why Sandoval didn't say it. If you are getting attacked, what did you hear? Are they given some sort of rules going into reunions? These are off topic? You can hint, but you can't go there. Like I get those on certain podcast interviews. Like you can't ask about this. You can't ask about that. But is it the same for them? Because I do wonder, if you're being told to suck or eat a dick, why Sandoval does, or if you are so in love with Rachel and you believe things and things add up, why didn't you go out? If she said something horrible about DJ James Kennedy, wouldn't you be holding that against DJ James Kennedy and like go, this is why I don't fuck with you anymore? But Sandoval lives his life for reality television, so maybe those kind of personal relationships don't mean the same thing that they mean to us. Anyway, Sandoval interrupts no, sorry. She's like, we were all friends and I was his brother. And Andy's like, Sandoval, James came to you expecting an apology. You immediately brought up what he did with Kristen. And Sandoval interrupts, I apologize immediately, dude. And Andy's like, the perception is that you can't take ownership of your own thing without bringing up. And Sandoval's like, I, for the record, apologize immediately, dude. I do regret not talking to you, James. I should have done that, dude. I was scared and I take accountability for that, dude. He always takes accountability at the reunion, but it's an accountability. But James is like, thank you. Instead of like, the thing that got me to really like, whoa, was when he said the ultimate betrayal, dude. you might feel that way, and I understand your feelings, but I felt like the ultimate betrayal was really, of course, to Ariana. I love when Sandoval's like standing up for Ariana's pain. You know who actually really took the cake for pain? Like, it's the Oscars of pain. Like, the nominations are DJ James Kennedy for the ultimate betrayal, Ariana Madix, I don't give a fuck about Raquel, Katie, choke on it, Sandoval. You know, like all of these people, and then DJ James Kennedy doesn't win and he complains, and Sandoval's like, I'm sorry, dude. Ariana's pain was just so much more exquisite this season. I can't believe you don't say that. See that, dude. The ultimate betrayal also just sounds like a horrible 80s rock song. The ultimate betrayal, dear near near. The ultimate betrayal, dear near near. He said he was my brother, but then he fudged my ex-girlfriend. He tries to be a daddy to my fluffy dog named Graham Hippie. Ultimate betrayal. Damn, that just came from the top of my noggin. And he says, James, I felt especially hurt by the way you minimize your friendship with him. Where do you put him in your life all those years? And Santa's like, obviously, dude, I regret doing that. James was sort of making a comparison to like Schwartz and I, and we're not quite on that level, you know? He's like, he hasn't seen like my butthole, dude. Like, I mean, Schwartz here has seen my urethra. Tom, please don't speak for me. That's not true, you guys. No, dude, he's seen it. He saw my pee hole, dude. No, like we were about to get my like urethra, like that area of the flaccid penis tattooed. So he saw that, dude. But also there was a spring break. Oh, dude, I wish you wouldn't talk about that right now. Like, please don't, dude. No, dude, seriously. I had a pool party this summer at me and Ariana's house, and Schwartz, he was like, can I see your pee hole again? I was like, yeah, dude. So yeah, me and DJ James Kennedy, not at that level, dude. But who knows? Season 12, I might show you my urethra, dude. I don't want to see it. Save your urethra. I'm galloping so far ahead of you. I'm seeing Diplo's urethra. I don't need some old stinky mustachioed urethra in my face. Oh, you're sinking in lava, bro. Sandoval's obvious. James goes, he's been putting me on a fucking bar chart my whole life since I was 20 years old and sir. It's like an annoying little brother, like, just put him in that drawer. I call him when I want to hang out with him. But like, you know, I've got my other friends that are like my age that I'm actually brothers with, right? And I played along for so fucking long, dude. But I never thought that you actually would stab me in the back in the end, which you did. I'm over it now. And you know, the whole thing with the ultimate betrayal conversation, right? Like, I wanted it to go better that night, right? I really did. I didn't want to fuck up your birthday and do all this shit. And I was arriving, and then it's like, you peed in Ariana's bush. He's like, sorry, I did, you know. By the way, that bush is now dead if you drive by that. No, it is, do you notice DJ James Kennedy does this thing where he'll always be like, he'll talk about his deep pain, and then he'll immediately follow with, I'm over it now. It's all good now. I'm completely over it. I don't need to know. I'm good now. You know, and you can always tell he's like not good. But I do like the point of, and once again, talking about the actual reality of DJ James Kennedy has a group of people that are his own age he hangs out with that are not a part of this show. Also, DJ James Kennedy, like I said, when you compare with Lala, DJ James Kennedy picked the right person to stay angry at this season. And he did try to play nice. But when Sandoval kind of like did his bullshit, especially at that stage that the most extras were, you know, rehearsing at, like DJ James Kennedy, like unleashed, like, and I'm not going to play your shitty show at the El Rey. Peace, you and your fake fucking pretend band. But Lala couldn't do that. Lala chose Ariana. DJ James Kennedy chose to get after Sandoval. And that's why it was crazy, because Sandoval would say stupid shit to even the women and they would just let him say it. But DJ James Kennedy would like snap back immediately. Ariana's like, it's okay, James. The bush is still alive. And he's like, but anyway, I really appreciate you saying sorry for minimizing the friendship, because that honestly, at the end of the day, was probably the most hurtful thing out of everything. It's like, what was it all for? And Andy goes, let me ask you this. Is worm with a mustache become part of the lexicon? How do you feel about that? Oh, God, Andy. Lisa's like, did you sell a t-shirt with it? Yeah, I did. And Lala's like, he certainly did, yo. And little Lala's like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm wearing up his underpants right oh, we get a flashback to the photo of the t-shirt saying, "You're a worm with a mustache, reunion watch party 2023." And James is like, and then the t-shirt was remade 1,000,000 times over. You know, I lost a lot of profits on that. And everybody laughs. And Lala's like, thanks for taking one for the team. And Sam was like, ha, dude. Ha, very funny, dude. I will say, to give Lala credit, Lala is the only person that actually, I think, whoever designed the Send It to Daryl, it's just the font, the lettering, like the time, it all worked perfect. DJ James Kennedy, like I remember that shirt when it first came out, and I just didn't like the look of the shirt. Like I'm all down to spend money on goofy shit that makes me happy, but I just didn't like the design of that shirt. But then what happens also, then yeah, everybody on Etsy copies that shirt and just sells it for a fraction of the cost. But yeah, Lala Sent It to Daryl, which I didn't ever buy, but like, I would have considered at the time potentially buying. I don't know. But, mom was dying, so I was in a whole nother place. Andy says, Brock, you were taken aback at how triggered Ariana was at the water tasting. We get a flashback to that scene. Ariana going, get the fuck away from me. Get the fuck away from me. Never fucking look at me in the eye again, you fucking piece of shit. And Brock's like, it was just really tough to see her respond like that. Hello, everybody. It's me, Brock. I've been on all 3 parts of the reunion with my little heels. Yeah, I'm wearing a budgie smuggler under this sexy suit. I've cut my hair and I'm ready to go. I've told the ladies how they should feel about men all season long, and I'm raring to go. I'm very excited to be here, Andy. And Scheana's like, well, it was hard to see how much pain she was in that moment, and that was heartbreaking. And Andy goes, do you think you'll ever be able to be in a room with Tom and have a civil conversation? And she says, at this point, no, I don't feel comfortable with that. And Andy goes, James says that he thinks you should release your anger towards Sandoval. Lala said that harboring the resentment towards your ex is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And James to Lala is like, damn, that's some Shakespeare right there. Lala Shakespeare. Little Lala's like, I'm Lala Shakespeare, bitch. Andy goes, what do you say to the people who think you should have moved on by now? And Ariana calmly says, well, by now is March 2024. This was summer 2023. And then he's like, that was 4 months later. Yeah, 3 months later. And Ariana says, and I think the only way past it is through it. Yes, if in a year from now I'm in this place, by all means, please. I know that those comments come from a place of concern and care, but the only way I was ever going to get anywhere is to fully process it. The only way to process it is to let myself feel it. And this is where she starts getting teary. She says, last summer was really, really difficult. And I felt as much as I think people were coming from a place of care, I felt like I was being pushed to be further along than I was ready for. And you have to really take that comment, like take stock in that. If they like really, I mean, think of Ariana up to that point, what the show was for her and what she was sharing on the show. And all of a sudden to be put in that position, not only in your real life, but then in the show as well. And it really did ignite everything. And to go from somebody that was kind of like, cool, was down, was always around, she all of a sudden had to step up to the mic, and she had so many amazing things to say, but it's got to be exhausting because you're not only on your timetable of healing, all of a sudden you're on production's timetable of healing, and your own friends that depend on a paycheck, their timetable of healing. And they have it in their head that, oh my God, we need this healed by the end of the season. But my question, and I think a lot of our questions is, but why? 3 months after, why? That would be so disingenuous that you would walk away at the end of the season going, Ariana's fucking crazy. Are you fucking kidding me? She's like hugging this dude. Remember the scene that they keep reflecting on with Doute and Sandoval when he's like, I thought we would be married. That was years after they had been together. Remember that was in New Orleans, right? Years that conversation happened. So that conversation could happen down the line, but yeah, she doesn't foresee her wanting or needing him in her life. And that's why it's so funny when Sandoval will like, I'll always be there for you, dude. I'll always. What in reality would Ariana need Tom Sandoval for at this point, except to fucking get her out of a lawsuit with Rachel Goes Rogue and sell this fucking house that she put like her life savings into? What? She's not going to call you for advice, like movie recommendations. Where do you get your like shit pills? Like what? But Sandoval in like this kind of patriarchal fashion of like a strong guy of like, I'm always here for you, dude. Even though this kills me, I would put it aside just to help you out, dude. Like it's like this, I'm the knight in shining armor. It's like, no, you're like the villain. Like let yourself Feel that. And then Andy goes, yep. Well, in happier news, I want to talk about Jax Taylor. I love that that's happier news. Also, I want to point out when they flash to Sandoval at this point of the reunion, he starts getting like this dewy glow. I can't tell if it's like alcohol sweat or whatever, but he's starting to like schwitz a little bit, which I'm sure under those hot camera lights for that many hours. But it was funny that they kept like kind of showing his reactions and he would get a little dewier each reaction shot. Anyways, Andy's like, who here has continued to hang out with Jax and Brittany in the years since they left the show? And Ariana says, Brittany at times. Scheana raises her hand, of course. Lala says, I would say Brittany. And Ariana's like, Brittany. Scheana raises her hand, so does Sandoval. And Brock goes, I mean, I feel like he's just become the +1 and Brittany's the solid in terms of Jax Taylor. And Andy's like, Sandoval, we all saw Schwartz broker piece between you and Jax on the show. We've seen photos of the three of you hanging out since then. They flash shots of them together. In fact, I believe they actually just hung out this weekend with Jax's rumored new lady friend, Paige Woolen. And I was just like, isn't it funny at the end of the day? I can't believe it. I can't believe that these three dudes, and it's like Jax fucking hates Tom Sandoval. Like he's hated him for so many years. And now it's weird. Like and Sandoval, I'm sure didn't really have great feelings about Jax either, but Sandoval was considered like the good guy, And now they're all back together. Schwartz now is the only one with a girlfriend, his 24-year-old new girlfriend. But isn't that wild? And I wonder if they convince themselves that it's like really cool, or if they realize, oh man, we're like in our 40s and this just isn't good. Like, or do they think of themselves as rock stars or convince themselves of like, this is cool, dude. We're living it, dude. Back together again. The three amigos, the three horsemen of the apocalypse, dude. And he says, what is your relationship with him now? And Santa was like, nothing below the waist, dude. I'm just kidding. And he chuckles, and Andy kind of chuckles. But I'm like, another fucking gay joke. Huh, nothing below the waist, dude. No handies here, dude. I'm not giving that dude any blowies. High five, Andy, right? You know what I'm talking about? Guy sex, dude. That was a guy sex joke. Yeah, dude. My parents are gonna give me their wine coolers this weekend. So if you want to kick it, dude, I've got like a cool sound system. We can play some rockin' cassettes and drink some wine coolers, and then potentially maybe go see an R-rated movie. That's the kind of shit like those jokes are made for like 14-year-olds. Nothing below the waist, dude. So stupid. And he goes, well, I will say it was such a typical Jax Tom confrontation. I couldn't believe it. He comes into the restaurant. We flash back to that scene where Jax is like, sometimes it's okay to tuck your tail between your legs and be like, you know what? I fucked up. I did. Well, it's a humbling experience. You've been relentlessly talking shit about me on your podcast. Well, the whole world has talked shit about you. The whole entire world, brother. And Andy goes, I mean, you had heard it from everyone at that point. Were you sitting there like, now I got to get it from this one? I was annoyed, dude. It was like coming though. You knew it was coming though, Schwartz says. Yeah, I know. But I'm like, every time I would see him out, I would come up to him and I would give him at least 2 compliments. I would pat him on the back and say, what's up, dude? And then it just like leeches onto these things, all these things, like all these theories about me. Theories. Like he knows my psyche, dude. I was like, dude, I haven't really seen you in like 3 fucking years, man. And you're like, you got the inside scoop. I don't know, dude. It was annoying, dude. Listen, it probably was annoying. And this goes to him being annoyed at Scheana for the podcast, at Lala for the podcast. I'm sure he wasn't thrilled if he was aware of my podcast. I'm sure he wasn't thrilled with any of this stuff. But also, Tom's such a big proponent of this is what reality shows are. This is what it is. Having the toughest conversation with the person you don't want to have it with. This is all, man, of course you are going to get this. And these people did grow up with you. So they're going to even know or pretend to know your psyche better than anything. Like we all do it. I do it. So it's part of the bullshit you have to deal with being a reality star. And I will say it is funny, like the aspect of like leeches. It's true, man. You are the one. You are responsible for bringing Jax Taylor back to television. You are a huge part of the reason that the Valley got picked up. If Vanderpump Rules it was not in the ratings juggernaut that it had become during Sandoval, they would not have greenlit the Valley. They've been trying to do that show for years. They finally said, "Let's do it." They launched it on the back of Vanderpump Rules. Now, you do not deserve any kind of payment for that, but it is based on your scandal that did this. So it is kind of funny, and it just kind of shows you, you get punished in certain ways. Like life will punish you in ways that you won't even realize. And now you have Jax being able to get in your face on scenes like this and go, huh. The funny thing is, I'm longing for the scene in season 2 of The Valley where Sandoval comes in and is like, "What's up, dude? Oh man, you really fucked it up, dude. But I see you're potentially hooking up with somebody with size Z boobies. So congratulations, dude. Not below the waist." And also, I like the also thought of the Psyche comment in terms. I like it like where it's like Silence of the Lambs of like Jax Taylor's like Clarice, and Sandoval's Hannibal Lecter. "I ate his kidney with fava beans and a nice Chianti. Are the lambs still screaming, Jax?" Ariana to Katie during this whole monologue from Sandoval says, "That's actually how I felt about Schwartz. He's trying to tell me who I am." It was like, I don't see you. Sandoval's still going off. And then he did, like, he was just like, and he did it. It was, and Andy goes, "Katie, Jax was furious with you for supposedly spreading rumors about him cheating on Brittany. What were the rumors that you had heard?" And Katie goes, "Well, just like he was hooking up with a waitress or that something about bathroom sex." And Lala was like, "There was a lot of them." And little Lala was like, "Yeah." And Katie goes, "There was just like random stuff that like over like maybe 1 month here, a few months later there, something here. Like they were all online." Yeah. I mean, remember we read a lot of those things as well. And I think it's hard because, with those things, there is, I'm curious what the full story is. Like there's usually kernels or a grain of truth in there, but then they get speculated upon or they get blown so far out of proportion or somebody's like, "No, I was there," and they weren't there at all. Like backing up this story. So it's like a watered down story or a completely different story of what the actual story was. But I'm still confused about this. Andy says, "Scheana, you had seen the rumors as well." And Sheena's like, "I think I heard about it through Katie, through Lala. Like it was just like in the group, we had discussed things that people had seen." And Andy's like, "Well, did you think that they were true?" "Well, for a second, yeah, but I know Brittany has his passwords and she's gone through his phones and DMs and found that they were texting and found that they weren't texting." And Katie goes, "But they weren't texting cheating. It was like he's rolling into the bar and we're getting it on in the bathroom. You're not going to find that in a text." And she's like, "I see what you're saying. Do you see what I'm saying?" Katie says. And Brock's like, "He's like dipping in and dipping out. He's dipping in and dipping out." And James is like, "There's no time to text, Scheana. It's not that hard to understand." And Schwartz is like, "In this day and age, you can't get away with that." And Sandoval legitimately, without a wink of irony, goes, "Yeah, dude, there's just no way you can get away with that." Like it's the fucking like we just had Scandival where it was like he would go over to Tom Schwartz's to whack off with Raquel on FaceTime and all of this stuff. And like, there's no way you can get away with it, dude. No, man, you like, and it's probably not good to secretly record somebody fiddling with himself because that can come back to haunt you, dude. That's what I've heard, at least. Like, it is truly like go back and watch that moment without a hint of irony. Sam's like, "There's just no way you can hide it, dude. There's just no way." Yeah. It's like, we know, Sandoval. We know you weren't able to hide it. Andy says, "Lala?" And Lala goes, "Katie was the one who broke the news to me with something she found online, right? So she sent this to me. She wasn't close with Brittany. I am close with Brittany. I said to her, because Brittany has been open about they have not been intimate for quite some time. So my experience, if you're not fucking him, someone else is." Yeah. And he says, "Jax and Brittany recently announced their separation. They show a headline from Reality Blurb. Brittany Cartwright announces separation from Jax Taylor after a rough year and shares why she moved out of their home as she denies publicity stunt games." And he says, "So I'm assuming that the separation had something to do with cheating?" And George is like, "I don't think so. I think honestly, they stopped bringing out the best in each other." And there's a shot of Katie where Katie's like, "What?" Like, which kind of reads as, did they ever bring out the best in one another? Like, did you ever think like that was like the best Jax Taylor has ever been? Maybe the quietest at times, but like they both brought out the best in each other. Schwartz is like, I don't want to go too deep into it because I had known surface level stuff, but I just went to Kentucky with them. I mean, like publicly. And they show them after the separation, they went to some like fan convention thing. Doute was there too for this. And Brock's like, we never saw it coming. And James is like, oh, we never saw it coming, did we? Please. And Lala's like, and be honest, was it Jax that was revving Brittany up the whole time that made it so that Brittany and I got into World War III? And Schwartz is like, what? I don't. I lost context. What are you talking about? And Lala goes, Brittany's acted so out of pocket on the day of my gender reveal. This is, I don't know even why this made it into the this should have been in the extended version and not the main version. I'm like, who the fuck cares? Like, honestly, like, what is this your audition for the Valley? Like, I don't care. Also out of pocket. Stop saying out of pocket. Out of pocket. These streets are talking out of pocket. Like, God, talk like a fucking person. Out of pocket. Like, I don't even understand this. What are you doing? I don't legitimately give a shit if Brittany was out of pocket at your gender reveal. So many things in that sentence is just hysterical. And then we flash back to the gender reveal of Lala's brother, Adam Duritz, cutting into the cake, and it's pink, and they all clap, and they actually blur out the faces in the background. And one of those faces is Stassi Schroeder, if you look, but they blurred it out. And Lala's like, yeah, she reached out to my mother, was so out of fucking pocket. And Andy goes, how was she out of pocket with your mom? Oh, people like to get real Hollywood, Andy, real quickly. And they call babysitters nannies, all right? Babysitter and nanny, very different thing. Do not text my mother on the day that I find out that we're having a baby girl and say, did you really hire our nanny without our permission? First of all, you're in Kentucky with Cruz. And she said, I have Jax yelling at me. And I said, well, then you need to have Jax call me so I can eat him alive instead. I'm fierce. The audience, crickets, like who gives a rip? Also, I imagine this was around the time of their separation as well. So it's probably a little tense on Brittany in the situation that she's in. And she's having to deal with Jax probably up her ass for wild things like, how dare you want to leave me? It ain't all about Lala trying to bake a baby. Like, I'm sorry that she was out of pocket to your mom, but other people are going through things in their life too. But also, who gives a, like, I legitimately was like, keep this on the Lala show or the Lala podcast. I don't give a rip. And this is one of the reasons why I don't want to see Lala on the Valley. This was such a, like, almost like a monologue of like, what? Like, it would be like Lala's energy going into the Valley would immediately be like somebody that's like on season 11 of a reality show on with people that are on season 2 of a reality show that are still kind of learning how to act around the cameras. And that's why you're getting like more truth out of those people. But if you had Lala come in, it almost adds this staged environment of like, we got to tussle, dude. We got to wrestle. We got to do this. Trust me. It's like Lisa Rinna bullshit tactics that I don't love. I'm like, what? I'm like, why are we putting this? Wait, Brittany's not here. You're not. I was like, it was so out of left field where I'm like, we're allowed to like just tell stories that have nothing to do with the show anymore. And if that's the case, can we all like the rest of the cast share weird stories and call it a never before secrets revealed episode? And he's like, well, I share babysitters with. And Lala goes, yeah, because a nanny and a babysitter are very different things. Had that not been Brittany, my mama would have slapped this hoe the next time she saw her. My 63-year-old fucking mom is being questioned by Kentucky Muffin. Are you joking? And Lisa's like, that's my name for her. All, fighting over property rights, intellectual property rights. Lala goes, slap a hoe. And Andy goes, we'll be right back. My mama would have slapped this hoe the next time she saw her. The next time she gets out of pocket, that hoe being slapped. What? How's that rebrand going? How's that rebrand going? Wild. And I will say, okay, like then the other side of it, Lala is pregnant. I have never been pregnant. I probably never will be pregnant. I was just talking to Janet from the Valley the other day where she reminded me that she's 7 months pregnant during those episodes of the Valley and Big Bear. And, I imagine when I read about this or I'm told there are so many, this sounds so dorky. I'm not going to mansplain pregnancy to you guys. Obviously, there's a lot of hormones and emotions and stuff. So maybe that's part of this as well. So you got to take that into account. But also we've seen Lala do this. I don't know. It's just, I just feel like, why are we're slowing down the plot to talk about something at your gender reveal? And he goes, welcome back to the Vanderpump Rules season 11 reunion. This is an extended scene. And he says, hey, Schwartz, what makes the Belmont the best place to poop in West Hollywood? That's what you said. And we flash back to Sandoval and Schwartz having a conversation about that. And Schwartz is like, well, it's like they have a VIP. Well, listen. And then he goes, they have a VIP bathroom? No, I'm not poop shy myself, but like for people who are, Scheana's like, oh my God, there's not a VIP bathroom. On the left side, it's usually reserved for private parties, but most patrons don't know that. The regulars know that. You can go over there because there's never a line. You can lock the door and you can poop in peace. And Andy's like, have you pooped there? And James is like, 1,000 times, Andy. I'm galloping so far ahead of Schwartz and Sandoval's Belmont poops. I can't even see you in the distance. You're sinking in Belmont poop, Sandoval and Schwartz, but I am succeeding. And he's like, wow, the best place to poop in West Hollywood. I know where I'm going after the reunion. And Schwartz is like, put it on a Yelp review. Okay, now I've been to the Belmont many times. I've been to the Belmont actually back in the day with some of these people. I have pooped in the Belmont bathroom, the bathroom they're talking about. It is a hidden bathroom that sorry. Listen, I had a nervous stomach my entire life. When you do go out, there is something that you get extra nervous. What if you have a stomach issue and like you just get nervous about things like that? I do remember this is like 6 years ago. I do remember one time having that Belmont and being really thankful that bathroom was there. I don't know. Oh, life. Anyways, Andy goes, moving on. Sandoval, you and Scheana have been through a lot since the affair. Have you unblocked her on Instagram? And more importantly, have you unblocked Summer Moon? They show a sweet, innocent photo of Summer Moon. And by the way, how dare this Vanderpump Rules reunion not use the brilliant graphic made by Maritza Lopez? I'd wanted her to make a feud one between Summer Moon and Sandoval when I had first heard about the blocking because I had watched the first episode and it was a part of it before it aired. And then she had this great idea to use that poster from Beef, that Netflix amazing series with Ali Wong. And you go back and check it out on my Instagram. It is I'll repost it. It's so fucking funny. And but I actually texted Scheana before I did it. I said, hey, I'm going to put this out, I just want to make sure it's not going to cause you a bunch of stress. But it was so funny. Everybody in the comments, people mostly found it hysterical, but then some people were like, how dare you bring a child into this? And I'm like, oh my God, we've got to find places we can have senses of humor in this. And this is one of those of Tom Sandoval blocking Summer Moon. That's hysterical, no matter how you cut it. And the fact that it's Scheana's daughter, there's so many undercurrents of comedy there. And Lisa's like, blocking Summer Moon. And Sandoval's like, I did not block Summer Moon, dude. I blocked Scheana's account and accounts associated with her. And I didn't know that it was going to block her whole family, dude. And Block's like, I'm still blocked. You are, dude? It's okay, bro. I'm not bothered about it. And Andy goes, were you on a major blocking spree? And so I was like, I mean, a little bit. And Andy goes, Brock, you... So what would have been nice, though, is for Summer Moon for her to come out and Sandoval apologize to her face. That's what I was pulling for. Or Sandoval to pull his phone out and make sure everybody is refollowed. Yeah. But I'm glad that was brought up. I'm glad that is in the past. Summer Moon doesn't need to deal with that kind of shit. It's just got to be hard for somebody that young to deal with Tom Sandoval blocking her, And he goes, Brock, you said that you had seen Sandoval being a better friend to Scheana than Ariana has been. What have you seen? And Brock's like, I think Scheana has really fought with a lot of the women in here from the beginning. And we flash back to 2013, Kristen fighting with Scheana. And in 2016, Katie fighting with Scheana. And in 2021, Lala fighting with Scheana. And then Brock says, she's been in the pit. And Scheana goes, not from Ariana. And Brock's like, yeah, not from Ariana, but by everybody else. And the one person that I have seen firsthand is Sandoval. It's been there. He's having her back. I have seen her fight for a 15-year friendship and a 10-year friendship, Ariana, and be stuck in the middle and get torn apart online by people that aren't in this room. Now, Brock, he's being a protective husband, obviously, and he's seen it from his perspective. But also, I will say, and this is like what I kind of love about Scheana as well, but hope that she figures it out, is that the other thing I notice about life, myself, in certain, aspects of my life, I will put myself in the same situation again and again and again and again and again. And, then I won't learn from that situation. And you got to get to a point where I think life is trying to show you of like, dude, if you keep doing this, the same results, it's going to get worse and worse for you. And I think we have seen Scheana do this season after season. That's why I keep saying, I hope Scheana realizes at some point she's enough. Don't fight for people that you feel aren't going to fight for you, you know? And also realize that people are different. Not everybody has the same emotional makeup as you do. But yeah, Tom would stand up for her with these other women, right? He did have her back in that sense, but also he didn't like a lot of these other women that he was at the time, anyways. But Ariana truly was her friend. And Andy to Ariana says, what's your reaction to that? And Ariana goes, a couple of things. We all get torn apart online. Lesson learned is to stay out of the comment section. What you're saying about Scheana's journey in this group is absolutely true, Brock, but I have been in her corner and supported her since day one with that. Obviously, this year was a little bit more difficult for us. And Scheana's like, I mean, she's busier than she's ever been, even before we started filming this season. I did feel distant, so I don't think. And Ariana goes, also, when I'm going through, I also isolate as well. That's my fault. And she's like, and I know that about you. Ariana goes, that's my fault. That wasn't you. I know you've done that with other people in your life who are very close to you as well. So I know it's not just me. I'm sure things this summer added on to it. But before the summer started, there was distance. Ariana goes, and of course, as the show was airing, they were showing clips and previews and trailers and everything. And it's a little, and Andy goes, well, you intimated on Watch What Happens Live last week that you've seen things that she said that have made you been like, huh, that's interesting. And they flash back to that Watch What Happens Live clip where Ariana is telling Andy, well, during the time of filming, I definitely was not aware of a lot of things being said behind my back. And I love Scheana dearly, but a lot of things that were said are very hurtful. Okay. There's more to the scene, but I just want to break this down a little bit here because I think this is important. And Scheana keeps, Ariana's trying to clearly explain things. And Scheana's like, I know that about you. I know that about you. But Scheana, you don't though, because you still let it get to you. If you know something about somebody, then you accept that. And also Sheena's like, I've seen you do that to other people you're close to. Okay. So you're on the same page. You've seen her do that. Ariana states point blankly, I isolate myself. I isolate. That's what I do. That's how I deal with things. I isolate. And the reason why I go so hard in the paint for Ariana in terms of this especially is because I isolate. That's what I do. I see this so clearly. And I've seen so many people in my life, unfortunately, hurt by this. But you don't understand, like some people are so able to just be there and handle phone conversations and text conversations and stuff. And my emotional makeup, it's hard for me. It's really hard for me. Like there's a full, like, I don't know if it's OCD. I don't know what it is, but like, it's been my whole life. It's like once I'm out and about or, with people, I'm good. But like just the thought process. And sometimes I will be in such a funk that I will look at my phone and I just can't bear to respond back. And it's so hard to explain to people because you're like, it's not a personal thing. I genuinely love you. You'll explain that to people and they don't get it because they're not like that. And so it's hard to have to like defend how your emotional makeup is or how you're just kind of put on this earth and made. And you can fight hard. Like I'll go through periods of time where I'm good or like, okay, I'm good at it, but then it'll always kind of slide off and I'll be like not good again, or I'll have, like that's just it. So I see this of like, sometimes when you're going through things, you isolate. You don't want to get into deep conversations or you don't want to. And Scheana, the unfortunate thing is saying, oh, I know this about you. I know, no, but she doesn't. And the other thing is, Ariana saying, being privy now to what people are saying now. At the time, I didn't know. That's another thing. I think the cast, potentially all of them, according to Lala, they all talk shit about Ariana. But I think we talk shit about everybody in this world. Like, there's a couple of people that I know in my life that don't, but there's a lot of people that do. And that's just how it is. As I get older, unless I have real strong feelings, I'll usually, if somebody's texting me negative stuff, I'll just kind of, I won't respond or I'll just be like, yeah, like, I don't know. I think the privilege of getting older is realizing how tough life can be and how many different variables that other people have that you don't, and trying to find ways to coexist on top of or in spite of all of that. So it's interesting, it's like I hope Scheana and especially Lala understand it's like, yo, but why? It's like the Sandoval thing. Why would she, when she is feeling in ways of not isolating, come to you when it's been bad news, when she's hearing things about herself that she doesn't want to hear at the toughest point in her life? Now, remember, two things can be true at once. She can have the toughest part of her life happening, and she can also, at the same time, be getting brand deals, being on Broadway, hosting Love Island. Two things can coexist at once. I will even say three things can coexist at once. You can have that first thing, you can have the second thing, and you can also be having a new relationship with somebody that you genuinely love. Does not take away that it still could be the most difficult part of your life, point of your life. Right now, I was just talking earlier. I said, this year has been the toughest year of my life. So many things have happened on top of the number one thing, mom passing. And sometimes I feel like I'm barely keeping my head above water. Like I can do this. And I think sometimes that's why these maybe even are so long too, because it's like the time where I feel normal. So I try to keep that feeling going. But it is so hard. Like you guys know this. You've been through this yourself or something like this, but just how it's hard. And I know. Like I said, I was so bummed out last night. And I said to Rebecca, I said, I just got to let this pass. I got to let this cloud pass. The cloud will pass. I will feel differently tomorrow. And I woke up and I did. And that's part of like depression. It's part of like knowing yourself. And that's hard though, because knowing yourself, you have to explain that to other people. And sometimes they just don't understand because that's not how they're made up. So they're also looking for every reason because sometimes they are so insecure. It's easier to believe that somebody like, oh, well, that person hates me because they're not getting back to me, or that person hates me. That, like, it's not that. Sometimes that person is just dealing with their own mountain that they've had to deal with their entire life. The mountain never gets easier to climb. You just get more endurance, hopefully, if you get older. But like Scheana at this point, and this is why the pick me, she says in a second, and like the Scheana, it's all about me jokes that keep going this season is because like of all years, this should be the year where Ariana shouldn't be questioned in terms of friendship. You just got to let her exist and get through this. The only way out is through, as Ariana said. And so that's what's hard when all of these people, not just Scheana, make it about themselves when you're like, dude, that person obviously has a lot on their plate right now. But other people just see success and don't realize the great pain that somebody went through to get that success or coexist with that success, I don't know. I saw this very clearly. I feel very strong. Okay, so let's see here. We pick back up. Ariana says at the reunion, there was something that I saw when you were saying that Sandoval, was more sad about you than me. And I know. And she was like, I was asked that question. And we flash back to that scene with Katie's friend. Sorry. Juliana Croza left a note in of like, Ryan, Katie's friend, what's her name? Well, her name obviously is, and now I'm blanking on her name, even though I just had it in my head a second ago. Her name is, what if this is going to be a 6-hour podcast? An hour of it's me just trying to remember her name. Of course, we all know her name. She just had a baby. Her name was Kristina Kelly. Kristina Kelly. By the way, I went to look for it and then it popped up in my head. And I'm like, okay, Kristina Kelly says, do you think he's more sad about losing your friendship than actually being out of a relationship with Ariana? And Scheana's like, honestly, yes. Scheana at the reunion says, and that's the thing too. You never watch the show, Ariana. You're watching clips on TikTok. And Ariana goes, yeah. And Scheana's like, so it's hard for you to get a full perspective. And there were so many longer conversations that I wish you did get to see. And Andy goes, have you dealt with feelings of jealousy, Scheana, about the level of opportunities that your great friend has gotten? I love that this is even a question, but I will, I will say there's something comic about Scheana saying, honestly, yes, but then break that down a little bit. He probably is sad about losing Scheana's friendship at this point, at that moment, more than Ariana, because Ariana's gone. She's done. That ain't coming back. So yeah, he probably, because there's a shot that he knows that he can convince Scheana to be friends with him. So at that moment, at that time when she was asked that, I don't know if that's what Scheana was thinking in her head, but that's what I was thinking. Also, in the fact of like watching clips on TikTok and stuff like that, you still get a gist. You might not get context and things that are, I do want to say, that are important. But at the end of the day, Scheana is Scheana. Like, it's not, it's like, well, let's have those conversations now. Andy should have been like, what is she not seeing? We get a flashback after Andy asked that question about opportunities. Scheana crying to Lala and Big Bear going, or Tahoe going, why can I never have one moment where it can be about me? Man, when I saw that scene this season, I was like, here we go. That was just like waiting for the memes to pop up. I was like, she is not gonna. This is wild. Now, Scheana obviously, now has a t-shirt that she's selling of that. So if that line interests you, you can get that t-shirt. Scheana in the reunion says, it's not jealous. I think it was feeling of being left out. Like, call me a pick me, whatever the fuck you want to say. I do like feeling that validation, not just from men. And they shoot to Katie's reaction, like, from my friends. And so it's like, as she's getting all this opportunity, I just didn't want her to like forget about me. I wanted to be on that journey with her. And Katie rolls her eyes and sighs. Okay, so this is interesting. I like her standing up for herself. Call me a pick me or whatever the fuck you want. I will also say that, yes, we've said that now multiple times on this podcast, is that Scheana, obviously, she does want that validation. She wants to be the hero of her own journey. She wants people to feel all of these things about her. She wants to be that star. She wants that. That is one of her primary motivations. And sometimes that's not a bad thing. She wears it on her sleeve. She's out in the open with it. The problem here, and what I would imagine she would get dinged for, and potentially by Ariana. So with this opportunity, all the opportunity Ariana was getting, she says, I didn't want her to like forget about me. I wanted to be on the journey with her. And it almost kind of reads, and I don't think she necessarily means this, but it almost reads of like, well, I want to be there getting the scraps. Like, I want to be out there with you on Broadway or around you or this or that, or kind of showing up to the events with you. I want to be that person. And I think that's hard for somebody like Ariana, who isolates, or she has her core group of friends. You got Brad, you got Logan. These are the people that, that she is like, that are around her, way more than Scheana is, because Scheana has a family. Scheana has her own thing, even though Scheana does show up to like Scheana will sometimes exhaust me when I look at how many things that she goes to and how many, like, cause she's just out there just pounding the pavement at all times. Also, I will say on Shenanigans, that is all about Scheana, her YouTube channel, all about Scheana, but I know she wants something more. She strives for something more. And I think a lot of this cast does. And that's the problem. So like the crux of this season wasn't about what Sandoval did. It was Scandoval. It was the opportunities. It was the opportunities that people were getting and some weren't getting. Some people got better opportunities than other. I mean, I think we can all argue at this point that everybody got some form of an opportunity, even Tom Sandoval. You get on special forces, you're able to people now know about your band, even though the band is, really brought up a lot in just joking form, but they still know about it. They still go out to see him. That's all free advertising for that project. So Andy says, well, how is your relationship today? And Sheena's like, I think we're good. And like looks over at Ariana like, I think we're good, right? I know that maybe I'm not always going to get a text back because she's busy. But when I do, we catch up. And the second she responds, I'm like, okay, I got to get her now. Like, now we're in it. And she like kind of pantomimes furiously texting. And, I think not going to get the text back. That's part of the isolating. It's part of also being busy. And, you also like human nature, though, Scheana or anybody, like I said, you tend to go to the negative. And when you do that, you tend to build up a resentment towards somebody. And that other person might not be doing anything with the thought of you in their head. But I think that's the thing with Scheana of like, well, I want me in your head. I want to be thought of in that sense. And that's just not what Ariana is ever going to do. Not with Scheana in particular, but just with a lot of people. Can you imagine the people that come out of the woodwork when this happens, even family members, even all of it, it's all of a sudden people treat you kind of remain the same in some ways, but everybody else treats you differently. That's what Lala's point was on the after show of like, oh, nobody's giving a shit about Ariana for all these seasons. And now she says what goes. I'm a badass bitch right here. I should be saying what goes. And I think that's hard. I don't think Scheana would ever admit that, but it's probably hard to stomach that all of a sudden people care way more about what Ariana says about these things than Scheana. But the sad thing is, it's not a contest, but I think these people and the cast members make it a contest in their minds because that's human nature. So Ariana goes, okay, Sheena's family. You're never not going to be my family. Ariana multiple times this season will reassure Scheana. And it feels like it's another thing that's not completely ever learned or trusted in on Sheena's part. And I will say, though, I would imagine by the end of the season, and especially the reunion, there are real dings in their relationship at this point. I don't know because I know how I would react in that situation with Ariana. And as much as I love Scheana, if Scheana if we had that kind of relationship and I heard her talking about me like that, I would be really, really hurt. It would take me a minute to like pick back up. But these are reality stars. Janet from the Valley was telling me the other day of like, remember, these people, it's a little different. Every time you think they won't, they actually do mend fences. They're almost trained to do that in some ways. So, anyways, on an extended scene, Andy goes, Scheana, finally, Sandoval and you were getting to a good place, and then you released your song Apples. From a Ferrari to a Jetta. I thought that you knew better. And Andy goes, which was essentially a diss track towards him. Knowing that the two of you were inching towards each other, was there a moment where you thought, maybe I should rewrite it? And Scheana's like, this song is really good. And there was no way I wasn't putting it out. I did think that after some time and the podcast came out, he would have so much anger towards Raquel that he would be like, yeah, fuck her. This is a dope song. I'm in the stew, dude. I know music. This is fucking dope. I like that also potentially Scheana and Tom Sandoval are Kendrick Lamar and Drake. I would love if Sandoval answers her diss track with another Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras diss track. And it's just like these kind of subpar diss tracks being bandied back and forth and back and forth. Oh my God, wouldn't that be legendary if they just keep bouncing back? Oh my God. I'm writing the lyrics in my head to a Tom Sandoval Scheana diss track. And I will say, I actually do like Apples, but I also have been very honest with you guys. I unironically love Good as Gold. Lala goes, but also he's in music. Everyone knows you write about things you experience. Brock's like, you're not getting upset with Taylor Swift for writing love songs over heartbreak. You know what I mean? I mean, Taylor gets dinged a little bit, but yeah, also, talk about comparing apples to oranges. It's a little different with Taylor, but I know the general gist of that. And Lala goes, well, I love that song slaps. I thought it was great. She taught my daughter how to spell apples. Are you kidding? And little Lala's like, I know how to spell now, bitch. And Sandoval goes, yeah, dude, it's a great song. And James is like, moving on. And he goes, Brock, you defended Sandoval more than anyone this season. Why? Well, I wanted camera time, Andy. I needed that camera lens on this old beautiful face right here. No, he goes, I really wish I could say because he was going to be trying to do the right things, but he kept putting himself in vulnerable positions. I think I did it because if no one else out there to help somebody change, how can that person know what he's doing is wrong? And obviously some of it gets through and some of it doesn't, but everybody deserves to have someone on their side. He needs friends to help bounce bad ideas off so they can get shut down. All of a sudden, now I'm thinking of a spinoff of Brock where he communicates with sociopaths and murderers in prison. Like, I'm here to believe you. I'm Brock. Let's do it. Come on. Yeah. Brian Koberger, the Idaho murderer. I want to hear your story, Brian. No, I understand what he's trying to say. But also, I think he hints at, which is like Sandoval just kept saying the dumbest things imaginable, doing the dumbest interviews imaginable. He made it so hard for even anybody like Brock. Like, I imagine Brock would be like, I'm so stressed out. I look like a fucking idiot every scene trying to stand up for this guy. And he's out there comparing himself to O.J. Simpson. Oh, geez, sometimes I just want to go back to being a pig farmer in Australia. I was in love with a pig farmer's daughter. Have I told you about that? Sandoval goes, dude, I appreciate you doing that. And everybody that has, you were very instrumental with like getting us to like Scheana and I specifically to come together and sort of mend our friendship. You're fine. It's not a problem. And he goes, Ariana, how did your opinion of Brock change after you saw how hard he was going for Sandoval, or did it change? Ariana says, I mean, of course, there's going to be certain things that I would disagree with, like exact things you're saying, but my opinion on Brock doesn't change because I think that since the day that you guys got together, I've just seen you as this person. I think that you have a great perspective on a lot of things, and I understand where you come from, and you actually helped me a lot as well this summer. And that's the end of that extended scene. And Andy goes, Katie, Sandoval apologized to you for the way that he treated you while you were going through your divorce. How much do you think he contributed to your divorce with Schwartz? Now, remember that scene where Sandoval came down after his sweaty workout, and it was like Darth Sandoval, what's up, dude? Feel the fourth. Yes. Katie, like it was like the weirdest scene ever. Like, I don't know, dude. If I ever did anything to screw up your marriage or something, I guess I'm sorry or something. Just trying to make a protein shake so I can shit at the Belmont later. I don't know, dude. So I'm sorry. Katie sighs after this question. And she's like, I mean, when someone speaks so negatively about you to your spouse over years and years, and we get a flashback to 2015, Sandoval yelling, am I giving you ultimatums, Katie? Are you fucking kidding me? To 2018, Sandoval yelling, I can say whatever the fuck I want to anybody. Call him a whore. Call him a piece of shit. Say their dick won't work. But if somebody calls me fat, I'm getting their ass fucking fired, dude. And then Katie in the reunion says, how could they not start to think the same? I think I contributed to Tom's Schwartz's opinion of me. And Schwartz is like, no, it did. No, it didn't. Katie goes, you just don't like me. There was this constant. Like, and Sandoval's like, I feel like the opposite, to be honest. Listen, just like Sandoval said in the final moments of the reunion, Ariana doesn't fuck with any of you guys. She talks shit behind your back, dude. Sandoval was like that with Katie, period. You don't feel the opposite, to be honest, Sandoval. You fucking despise this person. You do. If she all of a sudden kissed your ass or been like buddy buddy, you might change a little bit of your perspective on her, but that would just be because she would be agreeing with you. But you do not like her. You didn't like her for your friend, and maybe you had valid reasons for that. But you don't like Katie as a person. And at this point, if we're gonna rip down the walls of reality and go meta, fucking admit it at this point. Katie frowns and Sam was like, I feel like our relationship really went south when I knew which I knew would be a bad idea, getting involved with the Schwartz and Sandy situation. And we flash back to 2021, Sandoval to Katie going, you can either be on the Schwartz and Sandy's train or like get off. And Katie's like, you guys, good luck with your bar. And Schwartz is like, she's on the train, dude. She's on it. Honey, don't. And Katie's like, I don't care anymore. I have more experience than all of you combined. And they all laugh at her. And Sandoval's like, no, you don't, Katie. I got into business with Schwartz. I did not get into business with you, dude. At the reunion, Katie goes, it was south before then because you didn't like me. And Sandoval's like, Katie, I mean, obviously, we're different people. And the way you handle certain situations, just like the way I handle certain situations, might annoy you. Like I was hiding Rachel from Ariana, so I would handle that situation by going to whack off on my iPad at Schwartz's bedroom. Like that's how I handle it. You probably handle it differently, dude. That's how we are built. No, he goes, it really hurt to have you diminish me like a subhuman, like thing that doesn't deserve love. And Katie's like, well, I don't think you've treated me very humanely either. How you think that you treat people on a regular basis, Katie? Like, I mean, honestly, like, and Ariana gives a confused look, like, what? And he's like, Katie's like, well, when people want to fight in my face, I'm going to treat them exactly how I see it. And Sandoval rolls his eyes like, oh, okay. And Katie goes, I don't know, choke. I don't care. This is what I'm talking about. Katie doesn't even get riled up. She just goes, choke. I don't know, choke. I don't care. Choke. Now that's a fucking shirt right there. Choke. The Katie Maloney story. Choke. And then Andy goes, well, your chemistry is undeniable. I mean, it is not fun to watch fight, but it's been a crucial component to Vanderpump Rules in so many, and Sandoval goes, yeah, well, we're going to go bang it out, I guess. Another horrible fucking sex joke. At least it wasn't homophobic this time, but he's like, yeah, dude, we're going to go have sex. We're going to bang it out, dude. Like, what? Everybody frowns. James frowns. Katie frowns. Like, Tom Sandoval is legitimately just, Sandoval's like super fucking horny this reunion. Do you notice that? Like, he's got sex on the brain. Like, he's in that like tight women's Zara green fucking fitted suit. And all he's thinking about when he can take it off and go and whack off, dude. Andy says, when Scheana was asked to perform at Kyle Chan's whiskey launch party, the whole group went north to San Francisco to support her. Ariana, Dan flew with you from LA to San Francisco, and they show a picture of Ariana and Dan, and Andy says, and he skipped a lot of the group activities. Why did he come out if he didn't want to go out with the group? And Ariana says, so initially, he was just going to come to LA and hang out with me in LA, and then because these dates ended up being what it was like, well, coming? And Andy says, yeah, I know, but he went, but he chose not to partake with the gang. And Ariana says, well, he's not getting paid. And Andy goes, oh, he's not getting paid. And Ariana's like, yeah. And Andy goes, okay, well, he's still your boyfriend. And Ariana's like, yeah, but I'm not going to, he has friends in San Francisco. I'm not going to, Andy goes, I mean, Brock didn't get paid at the beginning and he was around. I mean, and Ariana goes, well, different strokes for different folks. He doesn't want to be on the show. Now, this is such an interesting conversation because they're also not revealing more about this conversation. Is that there was a whole season where Brock wasn't on, remember? Because they refused to pay Brock at all. So he went from doing it like just to kind of get on TV to like, oh, you're not going to pay me? Then I'm not going to be on. So he wasn't on. Like he wasn't a cast member for the season with his actual wedding. except for like a little things here and there. And that's what I was like. Sometimes, people don't realize how these shows are put together. And, I've said this many times, but like certain cast members of Vanderpump Rules that you would think are series regulars, they would get paid a day rate, which meant they only got paid when they showed up to shoot. But then there are certain cast members like Tom Sandoval. He's a series regular. He gets paid a salary. He's salaried out. Other people, and you would be shocked at who this was happening to, even as of last season, were just getting paid for whenever they actually showed up on a day rate, which means they just get paid for that day, not for the season. So then it would behoove you, if that was your deal, you would try to show up to as many things as possible or get involved in as much action as possible. But it would shock you so they are looking at the bottom line, but Brock didn't get paid for he finally got paid this season again. But Ariana's saying and I do understand this. First off, I think if he's not getting paid, why have Dan go on TV? And somebody said, well, it makes it sound like Dan wanted to get paid and didn't. And it's like, no, I don't think that at all. I don't think that at all. I think they just were like, yeah, if he wants to come, we'd love to have him. But it's like, Ariana's going to be like, no, fuck that. Like if I was Ariana, I would have said, even if Dan wanted to, it's like, no, don't do that. Cause Dan still shot with her in those scenes, but why put yourself in a group scene? Because all that group scene is going to do is for Tom Sandoval to come up and be like, what's up, dude? Can I get a high five, dude? What's up, dude? You got long hair, dude. I used to have long hair. Oh man, I've been with this show so long, dude. Have you seen Furiosa? Have you seen the Mad Max, the film? Dude, me, you and Schwartz, dude, we should go see fucking Mad Max together, dude. Have you ever thought about that? Dude, if you spend more time in LA, and also, trust me, Dan, a couple years from now, you're going to be calling. You're going to be like, oh, Tom, what's up, dude? What's up? Pins and batteries, dude. I get it now, dude. I would like, I bet you will, Dan. Anywho, so do you ever think about dying? Anyway. So Andy goes, okay, Lala, did it give you cause for pause that Dan didn't want to go out with the group? And Lala's like, no, I felt like it was already such an awkward dynamic that was happening. I'm like, girl, you got to figure it out. He's only there when you come home and go to bed. Get dick down. Like that might work for me. And little Lala's like, me too. Fuck yeah. Get dick down. Get dick down. That's the way the streets are talking. Don't be out of pocket. Yeah, this hoe. Yeah. I'm glad that would work for Lala, but yeah, it was already an awkward dynamic. So Lala, this is an interesting point too. And it also kind of goes to the argument that Ariana did a lot this season for being as betrayed as she was. She still showed up. She did bring Dan. There were still scenes with Dan. You went in and said, oh shit, you're fine ass, Dan. Like there were still those moments. We had that moment with Sandoval and Dan at the finale. So we got a lot. He gave a lot for somebody that was not getting paid. And he says, yeah, Lala and I were saying how amazed we were how long Dan's hair is. And Ariana's like, it is very long. Brock's like, yeah, where does it stop? Is it crack or below the cheeks? I swear to God, guys, that's what he says. That's not me making a joke. And Scheana's like, I did not realize that. And Lala's like, it's really his kneecaps. And Ariana's like, it's like crack. Yeah. Like, so Dan's hair goes down to his crack. Fascinating conversations. Fascinating. And he says, Katie, Schwartz made his indecent proposal to you, which was at Gangsta Game Night. Schwartz is like, one last time, me and you, Katie, one night stand. We're going to order $150 minimum junk food. We're going to scroll aimlessly on our phones, just like we used to. That's our thing. Listen, everybody, their best moments of their relationship is, whatever it is. Like I listen, there's part of me that's like, fuck yeah. Like that's erotic to me, but it is sad because it was like, I just keep hearkening back to that one season when they were, Cabo or Mexico or something. And Schwartz was trying to be romantic by putting just a bunch of fucking candy on a bed with a champagne glass. And was like, come eat up, And he goes, was there any percentage of you that wanted to say yes, Katie? And Katie goes, I mean, like, that's one of my favorite things to do is just like rot and scroll and just be that. And Schwartz is like, that's what we do best together. That's so dark. Katie goes, I know. So like, well, I'm like, oh my God, one of my favorite activities. It was like, that's also like so intimate. Having sex is like even that. You could do that with anyone. And Schwartz looks over at her wistfully and Andy goes, Schwartz, Lala said that she thinks that Katie is the one that got away for you and that you look at her forlornly. How true is that? And Schwartz, looking forlornly, says, no, I'm completely at peace with our decision to separate. It doesn't mean from time to time I don't cry and I miss you, but it was the right decision. And yeah, but I'm still fond of the best moments we had together. And this is true. And also remember, Tom is, making love to a 24-year-old. So, and it would be great at this moment if Joe just jumps from the rafters. Yeah, you talking about your relationship, Katie? It's me, Joseph. I'm back. Schwartz, tell him about me. But this is like, I get what he's trying to say. It's sweet. But he's like, still fun of the best moments we had together. And Lisa's like, oh, look, you're emotional now, Schwartz. And Schwartz is like, because we had 13 years. I don't look at it as a failure. I had so many great moments with you, Katie, and I still love you. But I know you now. I know you know. And he goes, I know you know. And Katie smiles and she says, I don't look at us as time wasted or taken from me at all. Like it was the best. And Schwartz is like, yeah. I mean, wow, that is wild. I will say that is so interesting. And I would love to ask Katie more about those moments because it's great for somebody to walk away from a relationship after a couple of years and say it was the best or some things. And I would also go, because, the audience, and you'll see this, on Twitter and everybody the discourse around these men, and that Schwartz really potentially, is branded a very dangerous man. And his relationship with Joe or how he kind of, moves around in the world. But Katie, I would be curious how Katie thinks that, and I don't know. Sometimes it's, we're so quick to be like, oh, that's just a full villain. And I do agree with some of that because I'm like, fuck, but I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to get ripped apart for even postulating this question. But, here's Katie's chance to really lay into Schwartz, and she doesn't. She doesn't. What do you think that means? And he goes, well, I like seeing the two of you as friends. And Katie's like, so do I. And then he goes, I heard that you covered your Bubba tattoo, Schwartz. And Schwartz is like, no, never. And then he's like, it's still on your butt. And Katie's like, Sandoval missing an opportunity to be like, I have butt sex, dude. Ha 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 ha. Just a little levity, dude. Lightening up. Schwartz is like, of course. And Andy goes, wow. And Schwartz is completely teared up at this point. Andy says, Scheana, Ariana had avoided speaking to Sandoval all season, but in San Francisco, you were encouraging him to apologize to her. Why? And Scheana's like, there were so many times where she's like, whoa, when am I going to get my apology? I never got my apology. And we flash back to when Sandoval happened, Ariana to Tom in their house saying you still haven't said you were sorry for what you actually did. And then at James' pool party, Ariana saying, he still will not take responsibility for what he did. And then at beach day, Ariana saying, he still hasn't even told me he fucked up about the main thing. And she was like, and I was like, okay, so you still need this to heal. Let me try and facilitate this because I feel like she needed an apology, which I now realize she did not. And Ariana smiles. I mean, listen, maybe Scheana really thought this. And so, that makes sense with brokering. But I also think she was saying those things as examples of why this person is bad, why this person is bad news and potentially evil, because he still would not apologize to her. I don't think she was saying, I need this. I was just thinking she was pointing this out in these situations to her friends of dude, you don't get it. He doesn't truly give a shit. So these crocodile tears are bullshit. And he goes, what are your thoughts? And Ariana's like, well, those are great points, but yeah. And Andy's like, no. And Ariana shakes her head in affirmation. And he says, Ariana, why do you think that Scheana keeps telling you about the genuine emotions that she was seeing from Sandoval? And did it annoy you? And we flash back to that Tahoe scene and Scheana's on FaceTime going, he did give me what I honestly felt like was a very genuine apology. And I felt like for the first time I got genuine tears. And then again, Scheana's like, I again felt like I saw the mask fall a little bit. And Katie's like, how many times are we going to keep leaving this man's genuine tears? And then at Kyle's Chan's event, Scheana going, I'm seeing that genuine side of his that I've loved for 15 years, who has been a good friend to me. And Scheana in the reunion says, it annoyed me watching it. Ariana laughs and Scheana goes, and I realize now, not my audience, but at the time, yeah, exactly, Scheana. You don't go to the person that, was heavily betrayed the most and try to argue your feelings and stand up for him. It was so bizarre to watch. So I'm glad that she said, not my audience, but at the time, And Ariana goes, this is obviously the first time that any of us have ever gone through something like this. So where's the learning curve here? And, annoying? Yeah, maybe a little. But she's being very diplomatic and saying, but there's a learning curve. This hasn't happened before. And he goes, Sandoval, you flew your audio engineer out to help Scheana. Why? I like that we act like fucking Sandoval's like Quincy Jones in the studio. He's making Thriller in there. Your audio engineer. And Sandoval's like, because dude, that's what needed to be done. And she needed my help and I could do it. And I'm glad I did it, dude. And I'm glad I talked to those guys because I don't think they had mic stands and stuff, First off, if Kyle Chan asked Scheana to do that, that's Kyle Chan. Kyle Chan should be flying anything, any equipment, blah, blah, blah. That's weird. And obviously Kyle Chan probably would have done those things, but it was a way to make Tom Sandoval look good in the process. Scheana goes, I mean, they perform at venues. Like, they have all of the stuff set up, not just a bar opening. That was like the first, and Sandoval was like, this is like setting up. Like, this is not going to like the Viper room, dude, or whatever. We're just like back line there. Back lines there. Sound guy's good to go. Like, if you just set up a band in here, there's a lot that goes into it, dude. I know bands, dude. Sandoval Cella is coming 2025, dude. Scheana's like, I was very appreciative of that because I didn't realize how much we needed until we got there. And had we not had that, I probably would have pulled the plug because I wasn't going to do a half-ass performance and get made fun of nationally again. I will say I have never fucking made fun of Scheana's performances. I love them, unironically. And he goes, well, the season ended in a powerful and fascinating way. You guys have seen all the episodes this season, but we intentionally didn't send you the last few minutes of the finale episode. You've all been through such an interesting shared experience being on the show for over a decade that we wanted you to watch this ending together as a group. We're really going to fuck with you right now, Ariana Madix. Get ready. Ariana mouths, what the fuck? And Andy goes, we're going to get your real-time reactions after you see it. So we're going to play the tape. So they held back those last 4 minutes. That's the big thing. And they're going to play it finally now for this audience. Because now it's just so funny because in retrospect, people are like, well, we've already seen it, the audience. You're like, yeah, but the reactions are the big thing. But the thing that this does really is that it really, like, we already think Sandoval's shit. So his comment, whatever, makes him just look still bad. The three players here, you got Lala and Scheana and Ariana. So Lala, you already know, will probably double and triple down on anything she ever does because she doesn't think her shit stinks. Deep inside, though, she's a well of insecurity and knows that some of it does stink. But she's going to hold her ground because she is a Rottweiler, as she will tell you. Now, Scheana, this plays into all of her insecurities. This is probably one of her deepest fears is something like this happening because she is probably thinking, what did happen in those final moments? Oh shit, did I agree with Lala after Lala completely shit on Ariana? Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, abort. And Ariana, who hasn't really watched the season except for clips and all that, going, okay, like, did something happen? What is about to happen? So it's really interesting, but it is such a setup on producer's part, not just for the whole, it's a setup towards Ariana. It's like putting the screws in Ariana. It's like, and like Alex Baskin did an interview, like I said, with the Hollywood Reporter, which we might go over later. How late? Who knows? Where he said, listen, we knew Ariana, didn't watch all of the episodes, but we thought this scene in particular was important for all of them to watch as a group. And I do think as a producer, this is kind of ingenious in some ways because it really lifts the lid and sparks some shit. But at the same time, it is so cruel to Ariana. It's another one. It's a gotcha. I mean, you think it was a gotcha when you found out Tom was putting his shrivelly dick into Rachel? Well, wait till you see this. Scheana does look scared shitless. Lala shows no emotion. Katie to Ariana goes, I'm scared. They roll tape. It's Kyle Chan's party. We hear, we already know the scene, but like, producer Jeremiah is like, don't end it like this, Ariana. And Ariana speaking with Jeremiah saying he wants 30 seconds with the audience. We can go. I'll call a lift. I'll see you guys later. Ariana leaves. Sandoval's complaining to his group of friends. If you want to film with your ex, dude, don't be on the show, dude. Seriously. Don't sit back on your fucking lazy ass and collect a fucking check for doing nothing, dude. With like Billy Lee around him, Kyle, all of these. And Ariana's like kind of making some like unapproving faces. Scheana keeps looking over at Ariana to see her reaction. Like, but she's keeping her face still, but her eyes are darting. They keep darting to Ariana, darting to Ariana, darting to Ariana. And Sandoval keeps yelling at the scene to Jeremiah and Lala and Scheana. And Lala's like, I'm fucking pissed, dude. And, Sandoval's like, not at you guys, but I'm fucking pissed that she's saying this shit because Ariana, she doesn't fuck with you guys on the real, dude. She fucking talks shit about all you fuckers. Ariana's face is in disbelief now. Sheena's frozen. And Sandoval keeps going, when push comes to shove, dude, I'm fucking there, dude. Sheena's like, I know you are, Tom. I know. Okay. No, I'm sorry, dude. I know. Okay, dude. Okay. Oh, wow. That sounds like the TMZ guy I do. Okay. Tom, why are you so angry right now on the finale? Okay. Lala, why did you just talk about shit about your friend Ariana? Okay. Scheana now is watching with a pained look. Sandoval sitting there stone-faced, but he is very dewy. Very duty. The heat's on. Scheana cries, I said this to her, Tom. You have been there for me. That's why I'm struggling, because you've been a good fucking friend. I know, dude. I'm sorry that I've made it hard for you. And then she convinces me that you're not. Ariana blinks really hard while watching this on the reunion stage. Lala now, chimes in at the scene. I have my own point of view that I've been biting my tongue because it's very hard to do this. And now Lala is watching this on the reunion stage, thinking about how much she loves the way she looks in this scene potentially. She's like, oh my God, that's a bad bitch right there. Sandoval in the finale scene goes, because you're afraid, Lala. And Lala goes, no, I'm not afraid. It's a lot of breaking the fourth wall. So I'm going to do it now. Uh-oh. Oh no, Lala's giving her credit for breaking something that's already broken. This happened to her. The word rallied around her. She now thinks she is Beyonce. Ariana's face is stunned and slowly beginning to wince in pain, because you do not bring, Ariana's a huge Beyonce fan. You do not bring Beyonce into this. Ooh, do not bring Beyonce into this. No. Beehive, we ride at dawn for Ariana. Lala yells, it's bullshit that she can't film with someone. She stays under the same roof. I get it. He fucking cheated, but he did not kill somebody. And Scheana's like, I know. I agree with you. Scheana's like, she moved on 8 days later. 8 days later. I fucking remember. I agree with you, Scheana. And Ariana's stunned on the reunion stage, not believing what she's seeing and hearing. And then Ariana kind of says, now it's 8 days that I moved on now. Like they keep changing the amount of days since she got with Dan. And Scheana's like, and I want you to know that you're not alone in that, Lala. And Sandra was like, well, you have to have tough conversations. And Schwartz is like, I know. It's not easy. It's not easy. And Lala's like, I've never in my life experienced someone who gets cheated on and suddenly she becomes God. Okay. Now Ariana on the reunion stage, complete disbelief. Lala remaining stoic. The scene fades out to Lala and a talking head. I love filming this show because it's real. I find it to be tremendously healing. And for Ariana to walk out this way is such a slap in the face. And then we did that song cranks up like a balloon. And dun, 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 dun. And we have that cutesy montage of all the scenes of like young them and old them. But Lala, I would love to put like, how has it been tremendously healing for you? Was it tremendously healing when you hid your boyfriend for years on this show? Was that tremendously healing? Was it tremendously healing when you you sold Rand to all of us? No, he's a great guy, good guy, amazing guy. Like, what was healing for you? Is it healing just to yell at other people? Like those lines, they sound good on paper. It sounds good when you see it, but you think about it and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Anyways, they're watching it and, you get a little teary and, you do. It's like an emotional thing. And Katie's face is watching, and Lala continues in a talking head. This is what we do. We've been doing this most of our adult lives. We've all experienced high highs and low lows, and there's a responsibility that comes with living your life off camera. You have to be truthful even when it's extremely uncomfortable. And Sandoval starts to cry. Scheana's trying to stop her eyes from tearing up. DJ James Kennedy blinks away tears. I've watched James live his authentic life. Scheana has. Tom and Katie. I don't feel that Tom and Ariana were ever honest about their relationship until Tom was caught cheating. And you think that you get to be honest for one moment, then you get to pack it all away and all is good? Fuck that, Lala says in the talking head. We've lived these so this is Lala's, and I also will say, Lala, come back to Earth, dude. You're on a fucking reality show. You're not an astronaut. We put ourselves in these positions. That's what we strap up every day, and we know it could be the day we get killed. Like, get over it at a certain point. And I get it. I'm saying get over it myself as well. But like, Jesus God, the sanctimonious bullshit. Then they play Ariana in a talking head, goes, hey, we've lived these difficult parts of our lives on camera. But if it's something that actually matters to you, regardless, you would do it anyways. He's never tried to talk to me off camera. He could have written something to me in a fucking letter and left it on the kitchen counter, and I could have read it at my leisure. But if you would only do it on camera, to me, you just showed your true colors. Then we cut to that last moment where the producer goes, that's the end. And Schwartz is like, that was a fucking plot twist. And Santa was like, I love it, dude. It's good for me. Sandoval watching smirks at his own comment, then shakes his head. And back on stage, Ariana says to herself, exactly. Scheana, afraid to look at Ariana. And he goes, what was your reaction to that? To Ariana. And Ariana's like, a lot of what was said was really hurtful. That is me being my honest self. The hurt that I felt so deeply, and her voice starts to crack. And I'm not here for the him putting on waterworks thing. And this is where Sandoval is like giving, like, this is like, oh, dude, I've given one opportunity, dude. I gotta go, man. I gotta get in the thing. Sandoval, tear ducts, don't fail me now, dude. We gotta, it's go time, dude. That thing was supposed to happen at the finale. It's happened at the reunion, dude. This is what you prepared for all your life, dude. This is what you coached for. Let's do this scene with Ariana. Let's get those tears out. And Sandoval's like, you know me well enough to know this is not acting. You know me well enough to know, dude. And Ariana closes her eyes. Like, I do not. How the fuck would you at this point? Like, no, of course she did. No, I'm sorry, Tom. You've lost that. Like, sorry, no. Sandoval's like, you knew me. You knew me, Ariana. I don't. And he covers his face with his hands like, tear ducts, work, dude. Oh, I need the tears now. Ariana's crying, real tears. And she's like, I don't believe that. And when you didn't get what you want, what you said about me to triangulate, referring to Lala and Scheana. And Sandra's like, you were saying it about me this whole summer. And Ariana's like, what was I going to say about you this summer? That I've been using Scheana for something. I'm using Brock. And Ariana's like, what would I have said? What would I have said about you this summer? Why would I have said anything? That's not true. You know that's not true. And Ariana's like, why would I have said anything other than that about you this summer? Given what I experienced 3 months beforehand. You pretended like we were all good and dandy. Ariana's like, but I didn't do anything to you, and you didn't get what you wanted, and that's how you react? You were at one point. I will say also, Tom Sandoval's body language, he kicks one of his like shoes up on like the chair next to him. I think it's Lisa's chair. And I'm like, hey bro, keep your hooves off the furniture. You know, we got to return this shit. Like, don't get too comfy. Like, I don't know if that Zara pantsuit is too tight. So he's trying to get a little maneuvering because he's trying to lean towards Ariana to really have it like emphasized, but it's weird. It's like, get your foot on the fucking ground, dude. Ariana's like, you showed exactly who you are. You proved me right. You proved me exactly right. All I just want you away from me. I just want you gone. It is so raw. It is so real. And you can tell all the people on the stage, they're like, oh shit, man. You know, it's like they have to be reminded of what he fucking did because this like, you know, kids reunion has not once again like taken the opportunity to nail this guy to a wall again with the betrayal. Instead, we're fighting over fucking Lala. But here it is. They're all reminded because they see the real pain that Ariana is expressing. And now they're starting to think about their own behavior. Oh shit, what did I say? Oh my God, this is real. Help me. Sandoval stares at her with a cry face, and Ariana's like, and I don't want to be in a position where I'm being forced. This is our job. That is our job. And I'm sorry. I did come to you off camera. And she's like, no, you did not come to me off camera. When I came over from San Francisco, you were sitting there on the fucking couch eating takeout, and I was in the kitchen doing something. And by the way, that had never happened the whole time we were living together to that point. We didn't really cross paths. Whatever needed to be said in San Francisco could have been said right there in that moment, and it wasn't said. I mean, it's so fucking true. It is so true. He wanted the performance. He wanted us to see it. He's in a relationship or wants the relationship with us to be mended. Does not give a fuck about Ariana. Sandoval goes, but that's the thing, dude. It's always having the one conversation with the one person that you don't want to have it with. Like Lala said, this is what we do. Take it fucking down 5 notches. Stop it. The moment people start thinking they're professional reality stars, we fucking lost. Gross. And it proves it with like that bullshit New York Times interview that he did where, I live my life 3 ways. When I shoot it, then when I have to talk about it on the talking head, and then when the audience gets it. Come back to reality, dude. We want to watch real people. It's like so fucking, it's like, and he's told me this before. I think he said it in the podcast that I did with him years ago. It's always having that one conversation with the one person that you don't want to have. Sure. But sometimes you've done something so fucking evil that it's going to take a while to have that conversation, dude. And if you don't understand that, that's like monster behavior. There's not a timetable. Like I said, that conversation that he had with Doute years later. Tom didn't want to have the conversation with Miami girl. Lala didn't want to have the conversation about Randall when we didn't name who Randall was. So it sounds good. And you're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That is what but they've not done it themselves. So fuck that. Sorry, you guys, for the language. Sorry, kids out there. I know this is a family show. Ariana says, this is not, I'll have that conversation with everybody else, but I am not in a place to have a conversation with you. And then that last little thing, well, it's good for me. It's right there that I was in that moment about to be used. No. And Ariana's like, I was like, this is going to be his crying in Miami moment with me. Sorry, the Kristen thing was in Miami, not New Orleans. Flashback to 2014, Sandoval sobbing to Kristen. I just want you to be happy. I promise you. There were times when I thought we were going to spend the rest of our lives together, dude. Sandoval at the reunion stage goes, that was completely different. You know, it's one thing if I'm acting like I'm crying and there's no tears coming out. Like, I'm a very emotional person. You know this about me. You at least know that I'm right-handed, that I have brown eyes. There's things that you fundamentally know about me, Ariana. I do want to point out that Tom is left-handed and he has green eyes. Be great if he just lies about everything. But I know, you know, so what he's saying, like, no, these are fundamental things you do know. But yeah, dude, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about your emotional makeup. We're talking about the inside, not the outside. You know, you're all like super, you know that I'm a 30-inch waist on my good days. You know that about me, dude. You know I take laxative pills. You know that. That's fundamental. You know I like lightsabers and a penis flute. I like to make homophobic jokes. I think it's super funny. You know that about me, dude. Katie goes, no, I think that it's the lying to her for 7 months and fucking her friend behind her back. I think that whole double life thing is what she's talking about. Like, yeah, no shit. And Ariana goes, a double life. I don't know who you are. So I'm sorry that's something you have a hard time with, but that is the consequences of your actions towards me. And by the way, I'm doing her voice very flat, but it's very filled with emotion. And Sandoval was like, obviously, our relationship wasn't perfect. And Ariana goes, I'm not going to rehash our relationship. Sandoval yelled, I'm not rehashing our relationship. And Ariana goes, because I know it wasn't perfect. How could it be? What the fuck? Listen, I just want to say to you, this is the big Emmy moment. Like Sandoval's like, this is it, dude. Time to let it rip, dude. Let's just hit this ball out of the park. Listen, I just want to say to you, that I am sorry. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I know you won't. I know you don't want to be around me. Whatever our relationship was, dude, the good, the bad, whatever you did, whatever I did, whatever you did, whatever I did, like you did the pins and battery thing. I did the 7-month cheating thing. It doesn't matter. Don't you understand? You're fucking lazy as hell, dude. I'm not. It doesn't matter, dude. It doesn't matter. You wouldn't have sex with me when I would come home at 4:30 in the morning drunk because you had been asleep for a couple hours. And it doesn't matter, dude. It doesn't matter. Whatever you did, it doesn't, you didn't deserve that. That's the whole point. And I'm really sorry. From the bottom of my heart that is located in the tip of my dick, Ariana. I regret it every fucking day. I wear it as a badge of shame. I don't know, you guys. Like, I believed a little bit of this, you know. I wear it as a badge of shame. Maybe don't wear it as a badge at all. Maybe it's like not something that you should, you know. I know it's like badge of shame, like kind of almost makes you picture like somebody getting a medal. Like, no, just be filled with shame. Katie's rolling her eyes and shaking her head. Sandoval continues, I did the thing that I said I would never do to you, and I did it. I dishonored you, dude. I'm a samurai. No. Ariana goes, you also, this is, oh my God, this moment. Ariana, this is the crux of it right here. Ariana goes, you also brought this fucking person into both our lives in a very fucked up way. And this bitch fucking has to talk about me all the time. And you did that. You did that. He's like, I feel really bad about that, dude. No, for real, dude. Yeah, no, I feel bad about that. No, that actually one I can totally agree with you on that one. Yeah. And Rachel, if you're listening, I mean, it's fucked up, dude. Like, no matter what your therapy and all of this stuff that you're working on yourself, you gotta like, you fucking did this to this person. Even if he is the groomer, he is the person that led you to the water, you still partook in it. The fact that you keep talking about her, like that's this shit that he did to her. He brought Rachel, this person, into her life under these weird premise, this weird guise. And now still to this day, she has to relive it. She has to go to fucking court because of it. Rachel, this is the one part of it that I wish you would rethink, that I think you should wear as a badge of shame. Keep your name, keep her name out of your mouth. Talk about Sandoval all you want, man. But that it's gross. That's the part where I just can't get with Rachel on. And Ariana goes, and I just want to be away from you. And he's like, I understand. I wish you the best. And I will definitely give you your faith. Figure everything out, dude. We have our lawyers. Don't worry about it. I understand. Don't worry about it. I understand. She's not asking you to understand, doofus. Oh, I'm a good guy, dude. No, we have our lawyer. Yeah, you had your lawyers previously. Figure everything out. Yeah, that's what they should be doing already. You should have given her space already. Oh, don't. Oh, man. Oh, he's like all kind of bummed out. Sandoval. No. Oh, dude. And he goes, so I guess the other thing that I was curious is your reaction to what Lala said. And Ariana's crying, goes, it hurts my feelings a whole lot. It really does. Ah, man. God. And this is what sucks for reality shows. Like this kind of personal pain jumps off the screen and it does make you feel something. And that's when you have to take the whole season or the whole series into account. Whereas like a reunion can be like, hit or miss. But these moments when you take in the history that we're all aware of, and even some of the history that we're not, it just makes those moments so much power in those moments. So Lala looks at her with zero emotion after this because Lala probably, there's part of her that is probably freaking out on the inside, tough exterior, but Lala is thinking about herself at the end of the day. She has it in her head, or what it appears, what we read off camera, I feel, is then like, it's Lala's world. I got to make my way. I got to shit into the stick with Randall, all of this shit. And it's like, at the end of the day, fuck it. Ariana, just like Sandoval, Ariana's the final boss to get through with the audience. Lala feels like, I think in some ways, she needs to not destroy Ariana, but claim some kind of position of I'm the big dog here, you know? Ariana says, because I was trying so hard and I feel like it's our job to live our lives and I'm living authentically. My walking away from that, and Schwartz is like, I think the walking away was earned. I agree with Lala when it happened, but now I feel like it was well earned. Yes, exactly. It was well earned. And it just goes to show maybe this cast needs to see this and maybe some of the production needs to see this. Real moments still work. You don't need to reconfigure things. You don't need to figure out the way in your head of like, oh, this season only works if we get this Tom Sandoval crunch, because we've seen that so many times before. Try to think outside the box, but not even that. Try to think as the box as a real person and how a real person would react. That's what we saw. And I think that moment will actually stick with us so much longer because think of it. We can't even count the amount of times that Sandoval has cried. Ariana says, I could have done it for the show, but I don't think our show thrives when things aren't fully real. And that would not have been real on my part. So this is wild because we get into this conversation now with Lala wanting things to be real, but this is real. So this fucking meta bullshit, Lala, it seems, appears just to be angry that all of the people on that stage has probably talked mad shit about Ariana to Lala, and that's what she's horrified about. But Lala, you're looking at real right here. This is real. This is reality. I do question sometimes how much of Lala's actual reality we actually see on the show. Like I said, every time somebody talks about Lala that knows her off screen or I've seen her, like she's a completely different person. Really fucking fun, loving, all of this stuff. So it is wild to see this Lala. And I think it's a Lala that is raised on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and thinks this is what thinks she's like smart at this game now, the game of reality TV. And that's what makes reality TV so interesting, is because nobody can truly figure it out because it's reality. It's like, you never know. Each season will be different. Each season will present itself. But I imagine production has such a hard time because you remember, you got to schedule crew people. You got to light the scene. You got to make sure the sound works. All of these things go into it. So it can't just be spur of the moment. Let's run and gun shoot. You got to plan these things to a degree. But at the same time, if we're having this overall conversation about honesty and being real, Ariana was real. So Andy goes, Scheana, what's your reaction to that conversation that you had after Ariana left? And Sheena's like, right when I saw Tom approaching and she darted off so quickly, I immediately knew we need to let her go. I did. I knew that. She goes, with Lala, I completely understood her frustration, and I know she needed support in that moment, and I didn't want her to feel alone because we were both frustrated. Scheana probably really in her mind doing gymnastics, going like, how can I have everybody not be mad at me? How can I diplomatically say everything in this moment? And Lala goes, but and granted, my ex was not on the show when he did what he did. I was questioned on, well, we're really sorry that he did that, but you probably should have known. We flash back to season 9 Zoom reunion, Lala on Zoom going, we were soulmates. We fell in love. And of course, I didn't think that he was going to be doing this to me. And Lisa goes, the leopard doesn't change his spots. Nicolene. Ken's like, I can't believe she used the leopard changing his spots. I don't have any spots. I can't believe the leopard. So. And Sandoval at that reunion talking about Randall going, I've heard rumors, dude. And Sheena's like, we were never allowed to talk about him. And Ariana's like, that is true. And Sheena's like, I thought he was a stand-up man. And James is like, yeah. And Lala's like, I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but keep in mind. And Brock's like, because you didn't need to put 2 and 2 together, Lala. And Lala's like, Brock. And Brock's like, you got a Range Rover out of it. And Lala sarcastically on the reunion says, I'm sorry about the 7-month-old that you're fighting for, but you like shoved him down our throats. So like, why did you do that if you hate him so bad now? So this is where a lot of this stems from, right? This is like a personal vendetta. She feels, and not Ariana, but the rest of these fuckers she's on stage with, she feels like they turned her back on her. But also the frustrating part about Lala is that she just says so much bullshit and she never goes back. And now there's so many people that have these amazing accounts that actually go back and like take all of these clips and show. And I think I want Lala to respond to that shit of like, what did you mean then here? What did you mean there? And it's like, dude, you lied for that man so much when he first came on the show. Like this, they all had to sign NDAs to go to Coachella and stay at his place. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you got to realize, dude, like, I'm sorry you didn't realize that. You were in love. You have this beautiful child because of it. You're a great mom. But it's like a different situation entirely. We watched this relationship start, right? Tom and Ariana. You and Randall, we all, like, I hate to burst your bubble. We fucking didn't like Randall from the jump. You convinced us to like Randall, but you had to lie for him again and again and again, which you gladly did, but you still lied. So don't talk to us about real. Don't talk to us about sharing things on the show when you fucking didn't do that because it wasn't convenient for you. It wasn't like it would make your real life very difficult to live. But that's, you see on that stage back there, but also it shows how far people can come. Scheana and Brock love Lala now. It goes to show you how like topsy-turvy this whole thing is. Like you could see their disdain for Randall in the past and the way Lala, and also the way Lala got, like with the Range Rover comment of like, I got a Range Rover after I gave him Dome for the first time. Like, dude, it was different with Ariana. Like, I'm sorry, you're not Ariana. You're a star in your own right, but you're not Ariana. We don't treat you the same way. You treat everybody without kid gloves. You're ready to box mano y mano. Ariana isn't. Even though I will point out that Ariana, in just her quiet strength, you lean in to listen to her and you learn so much more from her than you do with any of Lala's blustering antics. I think there's really power in silence and power in believing in what you say and having the courage of your convictions. And Lala, unfortunately, just isn't like she wants to be the reliable narrator, but unfortunately her past would never allow us to have us look at her like that. But they're all like, yeah, dude, you said he was a stand-up man. So like, there was like, well, are you really that shocked? It was different. I think Ariana was truly shocked. Like there was rumors, but there was never like, that was a whole different situation with Rachel. Imagine also Randall did this, but you find out it is with Rachel. That would be it might be a whole different scenario. but you're going back Monday morning quarterback in your own life and feeling hurt that none of these people stood up for you in this scenario with this man. But that each person is different. That's why these shows work as well. So Scheana says, sorry, Lala says this, if you hate him so bad. Lala looks at Ariana and points to Sandoval. And Lala goes, Sandoval has been shoved down my throat for so many fucking years. And when all of this happened, as much as I'm grateful that Ariana is not experiencing what I have experienced, I'm a little fucking annoyed. And it was wild to me that I was seeing that everybody has said certain things about the way that Ariana has changed. Okay. And I tried to convey this to her and I would get shut down and I felt isolated because no one else wanted to speak up on this. And I really felt like I was having conversations by myself. I enjoy filming this show. This show has offered me a platform to go out and grab opportunity by the fucking balls, have a baby that I can support and fight for, have a baby that I can support and fight for, have a baby on my own, purchase 2 fucking homes. And I know we all want to think there was a couple of months of a scandal that I had that was good. That's called years from fucking busting my ass. I'm happy that Ariana has been catapulted into opportunity. However, I will be damned if one person doesn't step up to the fucking plate so that at least if you don't give a fuck about like your position on this show because you're thriving, I'm going to need you to give a fuck about mine. Ariana looks at her pure hurt. Pain. What a monologue. I will use that to try to get into the Juilliard School for Performing Arts next year. Lot said here by blah, blah, Lala here. Lot said. But it's, this is once again, and she'll probably tiptoe or tap dance around this now or kind of Monday morning quarterback her own monologue. But it does. Like, I hope Lala understands that through the audience, through the edit, it comes off insanely jealous. It comes off of like, why not me? Why not me? And I think this was like the cast when they used to talk about Lala. That was their problem with her in the first place. It was a lot of manufactured bullshit. And she thought she was smarter than it. She wouldn't talk about her real life for a good long period of time. She would actively walk off. She would like lock off a reunion. Like, no, it's bullshit. So when you're upset that Ariana walks off, choke, as Katie Maloney would say. Are you kidding me? It's so fucking weird to have you say it. It's duplicitous. It's a little two-faced. It's hypocritical. And I just take you way. It's very upsetting and it's very hurtful to this cast member that you're supposed to be friends with. But we know now that's not your friend. You do not give a shit. That's an obstacle to a paycheck. And so a couple of things, a couple months of a scandal that was good. Like Lala, you went on your own podcast and talked about the couple months of scandal that sent it to Daryl, all this. Like, listen, you could argue years of working hard, but it's years of working hard. And then you got this opportunity and then things exploded. You were doing really good, but no, like, come on, man. Let's like call it like, let's be real. It blew up. The podcast blew up, all of this stuff, which is great because you were ready for that. You met the opportunity. But like, no, like, stop beating up your own ass this much. The show has offered you an opportunity, all of these amazing things. You're right about that. But I think what she's also saying is that all these people on the stage have talked mad shit about Ariana. That's what I get about that. And that's why she's fucking annoyed because she feels like she's the only one screaming about it when all of these people potentially screamed at her about the same thing. And it seems like, well, she's also having major conversations with production. I feel like that. I feel like those are happening. And Lala's like, I don't know. But her saying that she's happy that Ariana's catapulted an opportunity. No, she's not happy. No. And also, Lala, you were catapulted in certain ways, but like, I'm just saying, like, Ariana handled it differently than you did. It would never be the same. It'll never be the same for you. You're insanely talented in your own way. Lala goes, I was livid that night, livid of the reunion. I'm sorry if I hurt you, but I stand by what I said. Fucking dumb. And James is like, dumb. And Lala goes, and I probably didn't say it the most eloquently, but this was days and days of me and Scheana. Scheana saw me. No, that was pretty well said. James says. Lala's like, I was sobbing on a regular basis. I love fucking filming with you guys, even when you fuck up and I want to torch you all. How the fuck do you think people feel about you that film with you? Like, give it a fucking break. This isn't the Lala Kent show. I love fucking filming with you guys, even when you fuck up. Like, what? She reminds us it's a job. She reminds us these are coworkers. And like, I love, like, this is like an improv scene. I love seeing what's going to get thrown at old Lala. Like, what? It's so frustrating. It shows it's egotistical behavior. It's really, really horrible. And like you were sobbing on a regular basis because you were afraid Ariana wasn't going to have a scene with Tom Sandoval. You were crying on a regular basis because you didn't think the show was working. What? You're sobbing on a regular basis? What? You're in too deep, girl. If you're sobbing on a regular basis and that's what we get, like what? What are you sobbing about? Like what? Why? Why? What? I'm so confused. And also, if you're saying that Sandoval was shoved down your throat for many, many years, like it doesn't sound like you love filming with everybody. It sounds like you hate a good portion of the people on the stage. And that's where it goes, where you're like, oh, it's paycheck. Like you need to fucking give a shit about my paycheck. And that almost comes off threatening towards Ariana. Like, I need you to give a damn about mine. Give a damn about your own. Like, no, it's not how this works either. It's a conversation you need to take up with production. Lisa's like, so you're saying you felt let down by everybody because the true story that you were getting wasn't the true story they were filming. Now, Lisa, I'm so curious about her as a character in these reunions because how much she's had these conversations with production. Has there been a conversation of this is what we're trying to get at? This is what we're trying to get out of these people? And Lala was like, it was difficult because I understood where Ariana was coming from, but I was like, why does she get to dictate how this goes down when I've never gotten to dictate? I've never got, let me drive. I want to dictate. You've gotten to dictate so much. You have yelled in so many scenes, Lala. You have taken like focus in so many scenes. Are you kidding me? But it's just spoiled. Like, I don't know a lot about her childhood. Was she spoiled? Because this reads as like spoiled behavior of like, she gets to dictate. I want to dictate now. And it almost comes close, but way better worded with Scheana's, why isn't it about me? It's a better version of why isn't it about me? It's a better written version of that. I've never gotten to dictate. When is Lala going to dictate? And he goes, what is your response to that? And Ariana goes, I don't think I'm Beyonce. I don't think I'm God. Talking about sobbing on a regular basis. Yeah, I don't do it in front of Scheana. I do it on my own. Me walking away from that conversation was a lot more interesting than me sitting there and having it. Was that not a better ending to your season? To give you another season for another paycheck? Boom, mic drop. She says this quietly, but with power. You fucking lean in and bam. Laser-like. Gets to the heart of it. Here's your fucking money right here. And also I like the part, like, I don't cry in front of Scheana. I do it on my own. Sheena's like, why don't you cry in front of me? Oh, I would love that. But yeah, that's what I've said about Ariana all season. She's not going to be that. She's too proud. She's not going to give that. She gave one crying scene one episode, and I was like, that must have been a lot for her because you could tell she was like, I don't want to be that person crying on camera every episode. I'm not going to do that. I'm stronger than that. Lala goes, had I not spoken my mind, it would have ended with you walking out that door. So Lala goes, no, I'm the reason why it's a good finale. Girl, you're the reason why it's a mess. And that gets us here, and it's an interesting conversation. So hats off and congrats. It's shitty to do as a friend, shitty to do with a coworker, and it still would have been a good ending with her walking out. We should have ended on Sandoval doing his voiceover. Oh, it's good for me, dude. We should have ended on that and the walking out. But don't go give me, like, stop. And he says, Lala, you said Tom and Ariana were not honest about their relationship until the affair broke. What were they not honest about? And she's like, well, I've just heard a lot of things, and you guys have heard it from a lot of you guys. And Katie's like, Tom said it himself. And Lala's like, but you have too, Katie. We flash back to season 10 unseen footage where Katie goes, Tom and Ariana tend to present themselves one way on the show. They don't tend to fight on the show. They tend to present themselves as like having like a perfect relationship when I don't foresee it as that. And Lala's like, why aren't we talking about that? Why is it all like butterflies and rainbows with them? And they can talk about everything that's wrong with your relationship. And Katie goes, because we're not allowed to. Listen, I'm not trying to talk shit. I'm trying to say what is point blank. This is what I've seen going on. And Lala's like, that is a fact. But it is funny. This is filmed footage. And I will say also, we've had many storylines with Tom and Ariana's relationship of people picking it apart. Yeah, I would love, and this would be the time and place to have maybe some specifics on all of this. Why don't we get specifics? We get people like alluding to. Why are we alluding? Like, let's come out with it. Lala, my God, this is what you went on a full fucking press tour after you did this. This is your moment. Why are we not speaking in specifics at this juncture? Or is there just not? These are all just opinions that people noticed. Like, come out with it. Like this whole time, I was like, I really was part of me. If you've listened back, I go, man, I am really interested to see what happens at the end and see what happens at the reunion because the way Lala's talking, she got some real dirt on Ariana. I was like, she got some real dirt. This is what you come with. You don't even come correct, to use your language. You don't even come correct, man. This is what you had. You had a big bowl of bullshit. Well, anyways, back on the reunion stage, Lala's like, Katie, you have to. Everyone here. And Katie goes, I've said it on camera before in the past. Lala, stop acting like I'm lying. I'm sorry. Stop doing it now. And Lala goes, do not raise your voice at me. And Santa was like, all right, guys, let's chill out, dude. Chill out. Yeah. Ariana to no one says, we were in couples therapy, her and Tom. Katie goes, you've been talking a lot, Lala, and I'm going to raise my voice so you can hear me loud and clear. Stop acting like I'm lying. Stop. I mean, that's the thing. I think it works so like Lala reminds me of so many bullies from high school that they just got loud and it worked the majority of the time. And when it didn't work, you saw them fucking like they're hardwired, just like they lose complete inability to focus. They're like, why isn't this working? I've got to yell louder. Andy goes, Scheana, did you think that the truth of Tom and Ariana's relationship was being portrayed on the show over the years? And Sheena's like, being so close with them, like, sure, I would see moments where they weren't great, but then I see moments when they were fucking all over each other in public making out. And Scheana continues, every relationship has those roller coasters. And now Lala scowls at Scheana when she says this, because this isn't backing up exactly what Lala just said. And Sandoval now throws off this like off the cuff comment that I think is so horrific. He goes, yeah, I'm rolling at a music festival though. And Ariana to herself goes, that's rude. So what he means there, and for you guys that, not that this is drug culture, but rolling like means taking ecstasy, Molly, that kind of thing. And sometimes what kids will do, they'll go to these music festivals and they'll partake in these kind of things. And it is one of those moments where you do like, yeah, it's just fucking rude. It's fucking cruel. Like, so Tom saying like, yeah, I'd be all lovey dovey and we'd all like, when we're fucking rolling on drugs. I think that might have been one of the rudest things Tom said all season long. I mean, that's because my thing was like, and I've done music festivals and I've been there with people I've loved in the past and stuff. And like, it would like enhance things or it would remind you, it would be like, you'd connect on that level for that moment. And you would actually then anyways, I'm not going to get too deep into that, but I just thought that was such a shitty comment. It just shows how fucking fake this dude is at the end of the day. Ugh, dude, that grossed me out. Anyway, Sheena's like, well, whatever. What I'm saying is I saw both sides to that relationship. And Andy goes, Scheana Sandoval also said to you guys that over the years, it was him that went to your things and supported you off camera and not Ariana. Is that true? And Sheena's like, I don't think so. I think they've both shown up for me. Tom Sandoval, by the way, he will go to your shitty improv shows. I like that. That's his big strength. I will show up, dude, at anything. A bad improv show, I'm there, dude. A baby's christening, I'm there, dude. Great, man. Cool party trick. Lala interrupts and goes, Scheana, you have said that shit to me off camera. Can we be done? I'm so fucking done. I'm fucking done. And Sheena's like, what has Ariana not shown up for? And Lala stands up and walks off stage. Well, Lala, you don't like it when people walk out. Should Ariana freak out and say that you think that you're Taylor Swift? See, this is what I'm saying. Lala can't even keep it her own, like, fucking staying straight of what she's mad at. Like, you walked off, right? You tried to walk off. I'm done. No, this is your job, Lala. This is what you get paid for. The tough moments. Having the conversation with the one person you don't want to have it with. These are those moments. Sandoval would be disappointed in you. So ridiculous. And Andy goes, no, don't go. And Lisa's like, Lala, don't leave. Lala. And Lala turns around. You have stated so many times. You have said he has been a better friend than her. And Andy's like, we're almost done. And Lala goes, no, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not fun for me. It was fun for me when I dictate. Why don't I get to dictate? Lala goes, to look around, and I'm the only one that I feel has been honest at all. And now you want to sit here and talk to me about being honest. What Lala has been honest about is like about the job itself, about showing up there's another aspect of this, Lala, that when you sit in front of a person with real human emotions, you got to let that hit. And Lala is almost like this production robot. Producer's pet. Da 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 da. Producer's pet. Da 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 da. Doing what I can to help the story go flow. Yeah. No. It comes up so ridiculous. I'm the only one being honest. You don't think Ariana's being honest? Oh, I didn't mean her. Oh, why is she going to be more honest than me? And then Scheana goes, I'm not finished talking. And Lala goes, you just denied it. And she's like, he asked if there was an event that she didn't show up for what he did. Lala sits back down. No. And you said, I'm getting annoyed. And she starts to cry. Everyone wants to live their real life. I want to live my real life now. Lala, nobody's stopping you from live your own life, man. Live it large, man. I say all this stuff, and it's just such a disappointing character on television. And I do think there's a difference between Lala the person and Lala the character. The character is completely disappointing. I don't know how much more road there is in this character unless she gets a spinoff. But Lala the person, like a great mom, right? Like she went on her podcast, I guess, finally, and started addressing things, cried, all this stuff, apologized for calling the fans rabid, but said it was also triggered by things that people were talking about her being a mother. Now, I'm online fairly a lot, and I will say I haven't seen a lot of those comments. So that's horrific. Who the fuck would come at her in that sense? But no, like there's plenty of other things to come at Lala with, but like who the fuck is doing that? I've never seen it, would never do it. I don't agree with it. I think Lala's a good mom. So Scheana's like, let me finish talking, Lala. Can I think of a specific event that Tom showed up for that Ariana didn't? No. Can I think of several events where I felt like Tom had my back and rode harder for me than Ariana? Yes. Nice save, Scheana. You're back in the game with Lala. And he goes, did you agree with Lala? What she was saying at the end of the episode? And Scheana was like, I was very frustrated. Yes. And that's why I didn't want her to feel alone in that moment. And I said, and Lala goes, let me be very clear. I love Ariana. I don't, but I was so frustrated by the end of the season. And Scheana's like, and that's what I'm saying. I was as well. And Lala to Katie goes, and you have been frustrated with Ariana at times before Sandoval happened. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. Everyone's living in the comments section, but you have also expressed many times that there wasn't much being given before this happened. You know who lives in the comment section the most? It rhymes with blah, blah. They're all living in the comment section. So funny and sad. But like, give it up, Lala. Like Lala, another thing of like talking about the show rather than living life, talking about the after effects, the money, the comments, all of this stuff. But also, we've now seen so many clips from different seasons on this reunion where it's like, guys, these relationships go every which way every season. People change right and left. Katie might have been like questioning Ariana a couple of years ago. Not now. Get over it. I mean, you can't even decide how you feel about Sandoval. Like that's like everybody's opinions go back and forth on people on this show. Like you should be used to it by now. Your own opinion has gone back and forth on all of these people at one point or the other. Remember when Stassi hated Lala and Lala hated Stassi? Like things change. But Katie goes, there wasn't anything to give. And Lala goes, oh my God. And Katie's like, Lala, you want to do some like gotcha fucking shit? Enough. And he says, so were all of you afraid of what the audience was going to say? And Santa's like, yeah. And if you would have abided by Ariana's rules, nobody would have ever filmed with me, dude. And Ariana says, I never told anyone there were real rules about filming with him. It's a weird thing to say. It fucking is a weird thing to say because they did like, it's weird and it's not true, but it puts it out there. So dumb people pick up on it and go, well, maybe Ariana is bad. Dumb comment, Sandoval. You know better at this point. And I feel like Andy should have like stepped in. It's like, I feel like Andy is such a great host in so many ways, but I sometimes feel like there needs to be a production representative. They go, hey, you know what? I can take this one. Let me clear this up. Tom, we were never given any rules. You know that. Andy says, Lisa, when you had it with the other women on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you made the choice to leave the show because you knew that it would be expected of you to integrate with that crew. You said, I can't do it anymore. Now this is a moment I didn't expect. And I read it a little differently than other people, but also this was a planned moment because Andy had this question written on the cards. So and also Lisa very succinctly states this. So it was something that you can tell was planned where it was thought out a little bit. Lisa goes, when I left Beverly Hills, you go to the reunion with an intention to reunite. I did not want to reunite. I didn't want to see any of them again. Now, if you want to fight because you think you want to go forward, then fight for it. If you want to say, you know what, I'm fucking done, then that's okay too. So you, Lala, have a point that maybe people haven't been exactly honest. But if Ariana is walking away at that point, nobody can tell me she hasn't shown up. She has shown up. Nigga Lane! If I had been in that situation, I wouldn't have shown up with my husband and his mistress or whatever. So yes, she has. Sometimes it's okay to walk away. Ariana, tears streaming down her face. Now, Lala, you can tell is furious with this because she takes this as Lisa standing up for Ariana and not Lala. Now, this is fascinating. It's fascinating to get her perspective on leaving that season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And she's like, I just didn't want to continue. I wasn't interested in continuing those relationships. Now, a lot of people take this as Lisa standing up fully for Ariana, but I also think this is a double-edged sword here. I think she is, but I think Andy and Lisa are kind of also putting the thought out there to Ariana of, if you don't want to integrate with this crew anymore, you can walk away. It's okay to walk away. So Lisa is kind of buttering Ariana up a little, like she did show up. She deserves this. She showed up. She deserves to walk away. But there's a deeper meaning of, but maybe potentially walk away from the show entirely if you don't want to integrate with these people. And I feel like that little statement right there is what was fed to this entire cast throughout this season that freaked them all out. Like, well, you don't want to integrate with Tom? Then show's fucking done. I'm completely guessing on this. I could be completely wrong, but it is interesting. This is a very interesting moment of this reunion. And I do think Lala is complimenting Ariana, but I also think like also putting that point out there of, if you don't want to reunite with these people, all of these people, then walk away. It's okay. No shame in that. So I took it a little differently than some other people took it. The extended scene here, Lisa says, only words to Ariana. Maybe Ariana should respond to people more. But even with me, when I've texted and there's no response, that makes people feel that, you're separate from them. And I think you're loved so very much after this season. Everybody felt your pain. I completely felt her pain with the jacuzzi. I can't believe that. They really did. Once again, we're talking about Ariana not texting back, which I once again so related to. But sometimes, yeah, it does put those thoughts in other people's heads, which is unfortunate because Ariana probably is dealing with her own personal shit in those moments. But I get the point. But I like that Lisa said this. I think it's necessary because I think they're, and especially with that gotcha moment that just happened, Ariana's probably a little rocked and rattled in that moment. So Lala feels like she needs people to just like rally around her, when in reality, Lala, if you could let everything go and let your guard down, realize that Ariana, once again, this happened to her. She's hearing people talk shit about her now. Like she once again needs to be comforted and stuff, I don't know. It's really interesting. Scheana shrugs to Lala. Scheana just shrugs. And he goes, before I go to break, does anyone have anything else they want to react about to how that ended? And Scheana's like, I'm just curious, Ariana, if you, after watching that, if you understood why she was so frustrated in that moment. Scheana, my God, you did this with Sandoval and you're doing it again with Lala. Stop trying to, like, I know these people are your favorite and you love them so much, but this isn't your place. Once again, it's like, oh my God, girl, all you need to do right now is apologize to Ariana for what your part of that was in some ways. Because Ariana, I feel like, has been so understanding to you every step of the way, every misstep that you've made. She understands you because at your core, you're not a bad person. She is not a bad person at all. But Ariana goes, I understand the frustration. I don't understand the insults. Nailed it again. Yeah, I can understand how that's frustrating, but that doesn't give you any kind of license to badmouth you and say the things that you did. But Lala, thinking that she speaks in sound bites, like the streets. Ugh. And he goes, all right, we're going to take a break and come back to wrap up this season after this. And Lisa to Andy goes, I don't know how to make it better now. Does anybody know how to make it better? And Scheana's like, can I sing apples? No. So they come back for the final act. Woo! My goodness, you guys. What a season. We're almost done. Oh, I'm about to break into tears myself. You can see how alone and hurt Ariana is from the beating she's taken. And Katie says, come here, and pulls her over for a hug. And Ariana cries. But at this time, also, Katie suddenly feels that Ariana's earring is stuck in Katie's like hair area. And it's really fucking funny. Meanwhile, Scheana gets up from her seat. And this is a really tense moment because you're like, where is Scheana going to walk? I was like, oh, Sheena's going to walk over to Ariana and make sure Ariana's right. Scheana doesn't. Scheana walks to Lala and says, is there something else I can say? And Lala goes, no, there's truly nothing anybody can say. And Scheana stands there with Lala and ignores her. And Katie and Ariana are like holding each other. And it's such a bummer of a moment. Katie suddenly feels, her earring gets caught and Ariana's hair, and Andy gets involved. It's like, oh my God, what's going to, and Ariana's like, well, we'll just sit like this the rest of the time. And Andy's like, oh my God, this is going to fuck up her hair for sure. And Ariana's like, you can fuck up my hair. It's okay. And Andy goes, unfortunately, I think we're going to have to cut your hair. I'm going to have to shave your head. But they're all laughing. And Andy's like, this is really funny. I have to tell you, how did this happen? And Ariana's like, thank God. And Andy's like, well, because this is a great moment. It kind of breaks up some of that tension and some of that insanity. And so it was a nice accidental moment that they can like build on to like finish the reunion. And he goes, we're back with our final thoughts from a dramatic season of the Vanderpump Rules reunion. You know, just when you were about to dissolve into a puddle of tears, Katie's earring got caught in your hair, and it was what we needed. And Ariana's like, yeah, it was like a sign from, and Andy goes, where do you and your friend group go from here? The camera pans to Scheana with tears pouring down her face. And it's sad because, you know, those tears are for Lala, like in fear that she's angered the Lala instead of her friend that, like, once again is in pain by close relationships around her. Ariana says, I think it differs with everybody because I think that there's some things that are better than others. And he goes, Tom, how do you see your place in this group moving forward? And he's like, I don't know, dude. I mean, rocking and rolling, dude, sucking a lot of D. No, he goes, I mean, this has been a lot this year. I'm just kind of overwhelmed today. So again, like, I really appreciate everyone who at least has given me somewhat of a chance, dude. And he goes, Lala, do you think your honesty has put your friendships with Katie and Ariana in the ER? And Lala goes, yeah. And I'm okay with that. Choke. And I'm okay with that. Okay. You're okay with that? Thumbs up, Lala. Killing it. Killing it as a producer's plant, killing it as an actor, killing it as a friend, just killing it across the board. Wow. Amazing. Amazing learning experience you're going through. And he goes, Scheana, how do you feel leaving today? And Sheena's crying. She's like, it was the most challenging summer I have ever had with this group. It was very difficult to navigate. And I just want to acknowledge that Lala was my rock. Oh my God, Scheana, you are enough. You don't have to do this. And I don't think I could have done it without you, Lala. We've had so many conversations where I've expressed frustration, like Ariana was my person. And there has been so much distance before we even started filming. And I just want to acknowledge that. And I'm sorry if I don't speak up enough, if I'm not loud enough, because just navigating all this has been very challenging. And I don't always like to speak because I'm afraid of what everyone's going to say, but I couldn't finish this and not say that. It's so sad. Like, it's another, like, Ariana probably truly doesn't care because I think she understands Scheana, but it's like, what a kick in the nuts. You're like so scared of Lala being upset at you that you got to take your last final moments at the reunion and say this, like give a shout out to Lala and also say, well, I was closer with Ariana before. She was my person, but then things got busy even before filming. Things did get busy, girl. But also then it goes on to kind of explain the crux of who Scheana is. Like, she is like this. She's like, I don't know if I can speak up or if I'm loud enough. And I don't know, like, cause you just see where she's like, gets forced in these situations where she has to speak up and then she like completely puts her foot in it. And like, that's why she's so scared to do it. But she feels like I need to take this moment because I don't need Lala mad at me because Lala will text me back immediately. Like, that's the kind of vibe you get. And you feel, I don't know. It's like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, you don't need to be this far up Lala's ass. Like, you just don't. And I'm really curious to hear Scheana talk about these moments further. And he goes, Katie, you seem lighter. It's nice to see you and Schwartz sending each other memes and being friendly. And Katie's like, I haven't gotten any memes lately, though. And Andy's like kissing the same girls. And they show, both of them kissing Tori. Katie goes, well, I can't wait to meet your new girlfriend, Tom. Ha ha ha. And Schwartz is like, I don't know. Let's see. And Brock's like, she's got game, boys. She's got game. And Sandoval's like, let's see what happens. Shut up. And he goes, DJ James Kennedy, I hear you have a residency in Vegas happening. Where, Andy? Las Vegas. That's right. Not just anywhere, but at Live at the Fontainebleau. Andy goes, wow, congratulations. That's really great. Thank you so much, Andy. And Andy goes, Schwartz. And Schwartz is like, I just want to remind everybody on stage that I love you guys. You guys are my friends and my family. I just worry, like, I don't know. There's been like a lot of talk about this show and as a job, and it's valid, pointing to Ariana, but you guys are my fucking family and I love you guys. I know, Ariana, we're not in the best place, but I still love you and I miss you. And James is like, I agree with Schwartz. I feel the same way. And he goes, good, well said. We usually end reunions by raising a delicious cocktail, but we are making tonight's toast with a toast. That's right. We actually have something about her sandwiches waiting in the wings. We need someone to bring them out, and who better than Kyle Chan and Ann? Yeah, who better? They all clap. Ann and Kyle walk out, pass out the sandwiches. And he's like, the long-suffering Ann. Pass him out, Ann. And Sandoval goes up to Ann and goes like, okay, Ann, you can clean up afterwards, right? That's a little Tom Sandoval humor, dude. Ann, I know we're not good right now, but did you hear me make all those dick jokes? Pretty sweet, right? Do you miss me telling their dick jokes to you? Because I told you so many, dude. Anywho, good looking out, Ann. Congratulations. I'm still going to sue you later, though. Allie and Joe come out too. Like, man, I forgot about Allie. Joe comes out, jump scare. And he goes, guys, sandwiches, wow, may these continue to be the best days of your lives. Holy shit, Andy. Do you feel bad saying something like that? Like, that's dark. May these continue, if these are the best days of our life, maybe, okay, how about this? May these continue to be the best days of your lives for your bank account. Like, that maybe is more true to this, but these ain't it. Anyways, they hold up the sandwiches. By the way, Lala doesn't partake. Lala kind of just like walks off, if you watch in the background. And Andy's like, let me tell you something. This is damn good. I will see you at something about her. Now, off on the side of the stage, Brock's like, what's going on, Scheana? And Sheena's like, I just think she's mad at me still. Like, wouldn't you worried about Ariana being mad at you and what she feels like in those moments? But it's like, I'm worried about Lala. I'm like, girl, man. And by the way, this is where it's like, Scheana doesn't truly live in the comment section, because if she did, I think it would be a little different, like, so, like, I think they take into the audience's account, but at the same time, they're still going by the beat of their own drummer, right? Brock's like, you did the right thing, Scheana, okay? You did the right thing. I'm so proud of you. And she's like, but I don't feel like it was enough. Honey, for you to speak up like that, it's enough. So there's a husband being supportive of his wife. And I think that also shows you, man, that was a big thing for Scheana to do, but I just felt like she wasted a lot of her capital on Lala, and she didn't need to. Anyways, they filter backstage, and backstage, Lala to Scheana is like, I think in the moment of watching Lisa defend so hard when the season 9 reunion, I didn't want to be grilled about my ex who did me fucking filthy, but instead I was greeted with, you lose him how you get him, and just how Ariana got to walk away when she was uncomfortable. I'm creating life. Oh my God, did you guys, well, first off, big news. Did you guys hear Lala's pregnant? So she's creating life. I listen, birth is completely a beautiful, magical, amazing thing, but that doesn't give you fucking free reign to be a monster in situations. It doesn't. I'm sorry. I know that's probably horrible, and you guys might be mad at me for saying that, but like, it does not give you that right. Like, to keep, like, you're creating life. So what? You still got to show up and be a real person. Like, creating life. Stop. Scheana's created life. Lisa's created life. Sandoval's like, I would if I could, dude. Just kidding. Sorry. But it's like this, once again, it just shows like it's fucking jealousy of like Lisa not like doing something for you and doing it to Ariana differently. They were completely different situations. The fact that Lala, being so smart, can't see that is so weird to me. Like, I don't get to walk off the stage when I'm feeling uncomfortable. You did. Don't fucking sit here and tell me that it's even playing field for everybody. So yeah, I'm a little fucking annoyed. And then she starts crying. You think I wanted to show up that day? No, I just don't feel like it's fair at all. Ariana showed up. I don't know. I can't convince anybody. Lala's not going to listen to that. It just feels weird, man. You need to do some work with a therapist about season 9, I guess, or talk to Lisa or somebody, but it's not Ariana's fault. Andy hugs James. He's like, oh, James. Andy, I love you. So proud of you, James. See you in Vegas. Schwartz comes up to Lala and Scheana is like, I don't want to interrupt. Love you guys. Bye. Katie to Jeremiah, the producer, is like, the last thing someone should say about me is that I'm not honest, talking about Lala. Ariana goes, you're one of the most, you're your authentic self day in, day out. And Lala, back to Lala, to Scheana, is like, I don't fucking care that I hurt anyone's feelings. Ariana, I like barely see. And Sheena's like, I mean, she doesn't act like she gives a shit. And no, I think that's about Katie, actually. And Katie, whatever. And she was like, I mean, she doesn't act like she gives a shit. And Lala's like, well, if she doesn't, it's like, let's stop pretending then. Let's stop pretending. Let's stop pretending that's what we're doing. Like, you're pretending, Lala. That's what's so ridiculous about this meta conversation. You don't fucking like these people. Come out and be real with it, man. Ariana to Katie, back to them, goes, okay, I love you. I'll see you Monday. And Lala, back to her, goes, I just want to live a fucking happy life, but still make the money I'm making. And Sheena's like, Lala. Then Sandoval comes up and it's like, to Lala, goes, I ride hard for you, Lala, dude. Oh, and Lala's crying. And it's like, Jeremiah, the producer's there, and Lala's like taking Tom Sandoval in, like, I fucking ride hard for you, dude. Respect, dude. Fucking respect, Lala. So real, dude. Oh my God. And this is like a great moment for Lala, because she's not even like responding back to Tom, but just trying to talk to Jeremiah. And it's like, Lala, see what you did, man? You got Sandoval's respect. Oh, we're reality stars, dude. You're like me, dude. We're kindred spirits, dude. That cannot feel good. Cannot feel good. Oh my God. Like, that's what you got yourself into, man. You earned Tom Sandoval's respect. And Tom leaves after he steals a Diet Coke from Crafty. Lala gets into her car and goes, I just want to go like bake a baby and have a good life. This is shocking. She's pregnant, I guess. And so that's it, folks. That is the end of this reunion. Now, I want to talk about a couple of other things before I let you go. Wow. Is this going to be the longest one of the season? It just might, folks. It just. Okay, so Ariana was on Disrespectfully Yours, Katie and Dana Cathin's podcast. Go check that out. And then, of course, Lala will answer fan questions on Monday's episode of her Give Them Lala podcast. I'm sure Shenanigans will have things to say about it this Friday as well. Lala, apologized and cried and, all of this stuff. So go check that out if you want to. Ariana, there was not, it was interesting, but I wanted to focus on this interview with Alex Baskin, the head executive producer over at the production company that produces this show. And they also produce Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Real Housewives of Orange County. Truly, this guy is the head honcho, Alex Baskin. And I thought this was some interesting tidbits in this article. I was kind of hoping it was written by one of my favorites, Kate Arthur, but it wasn't. This interview was written by Jackie Strauss from The Hollywood Reporter. And so it's a good question. It says, when we talked at the beginning of the season, you spoke about the pressure that season 11 had to follow Sandoval. Now that we're at the end, how do you think it measured up? And Alex Baskin says, it was the hardest season that we've had to make. The group was really divided. We went back into production not too long after the reunion. So you saw where the group really was. I think it's a super powerful end of the reunion. And there are a lot of unanswered questions that are playing out in real time. So he kind of admits that's how reality should be. There's a lot of question marks. We don't know where we ended with any of these stories, really. It seems like there's a lot of anger, obviously, out there. He says, what surprised you the most about the audience reacted this season? And he goes, we weren't terribly surprised by the audience's reaction. That's interesting. I thought that was an interesting tidbit because it feels like they were aiming certain storylines where I feel like they would almost be surprised. They almost expected us to feel differently, but he says they weren't. He says, but what they saw play out was completely real. You see that we really are documenting the relationships of a group of people. And as much as might want everyone to move on and move forward in the timeline of watching the show, you have to respect where everyone is coming from. The group went into the season really damaged, and you saw what happened when they got together. The audience also shifted a little over the course of the season. At first, they were frustrated that we weren't just moving on from this. And by the end, they were more understanding of where Ariana and Katie were coming from. See, I don't know. I don't agree. At first, they were frustrated that we weren't just moving on from this. I don't know. Really? Were we? I don't know. Maybe they were tired of Sandoval, but like, how would they have moved? I don't know. I'm curious about that. And by the end, they were more understanding of where Ariana and Katie were coming from. I was pretty understanding where Ariana was coming from at the beginning, But I think the passion that the audience has is a testament to the show and the investment in the group of these people for 11 years. Says the cast was also tough on Ariana about moving on. And Alex says the group has been through so many situations and scandals between them. I think it's tough for some of them to appreciate that this is different. Exactly, Lala. A lot of them had their own experience with moving on from something that was really difficult. And I say that in the context of their lives in the show because they are one and the same with this group. So I think that's why they struggled with this. And I also think the intensity of the audience's reaction was difficult. So this is what it's got to be like being a producer and all these guys over at Evolution Media. You almost become like a caretaker. It's like a bunch of kindergartners and you're the kindergarten teacher and you kind of have to like try to like massage all of these egos. That's where it's probably different than kindergarten, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, yes, everybody's had these situations. Trying to get them to understand this is a little different. It's difficult. Since part of what you see at the reunion is that they all feel as though they were castigated by the audience to some extent for expressing what they did. But that's reality. You will get castigated because our opinions are part of the experience of watching reality TV. He goes, and then there's this really meta conversation we've gotten into about what it means to do the show, your real life versus what you see. It's an interesting dialogue at the reunion where you have one group that is saying, if you sign up to do this, then you have these interactions that become your real life. So that's Lala and Sandoval versus the other side saying, no, I'm signing up to be who I am and to do it in a way that feels right and authentic. Ariana. There just wasn't common ground. But we as producers are always saying we don't force people to do things they don't want to do. And that's what you saw. We cannot force group harmony or even group interaction. It's a collection of people who are proceeding through this in a way that reflects who they are and where they are in their lives. And then it says, talk about your decision to intentionally hold back the final moments of the finale and have them all watch it together during the reunion. Alex says, I thought that was the way to go about this. First of all, every cast member has been watching the show. So I thought it was important to make sure that they all saw it. I also thought there would be a visceral impact if they had to experience it together on the stage. And that if they all had to see it at once, then it was something they couldn't talk about before they were there. So I thought everyone would be accountable for what they said. Now that's a great point. You know, you wouldn't be able to plan out. Scheana wouldn't be able to call Lala the night before. You know, you'd have to answer in the moment. It's completely right. He says, and then the editorial team did such a wonderful job with the montage and brought us back to prior seasons that I sort of had chills. When we were watching from the control room, we all got chills. It was a super emotional and really charged moment. I agree. There isn't, I agree, like that fucking matters. This person says, there isn't an official renewal yet on season 12. And because that finale was such an emotional look back, people are wondering if it could be the end of the show. Was that the intent? And Alex says, no. By the way, official renewal just means that it's announced to us, you guys. Obviously, there's been a lot of speculation. People have written the show's final chapter many times and the show has continued, right? That's what I try to tell you, right? So just because it's a reflective moment that clearly marks the end of one chapter does not necessarily mean that is the end of the show. You see, there is still a lot of fertile ground and developments in their life. Yeah, fertile ground. Lala creates life. So I think it would be a very premature that just because we really closed the book on Sandoval in a lot of ways, because it was the moment that sort of blew up everything, and that extended into the next season does not necessarily mean the show is over. It definitely is not over. Question. Andy Cohen explained why the show is taking a pause and not filming this summer, and Lisa Vanderpump called it a hiatus. Cohen said that they often do this with Real Housewives shows to give the cast a breather to live their lives. Ariana is also hosting Love Island this summer, among other things. Are you taking a risk that by giving them space, some of them may not return? And he says, we thought the break was the right way to go because to your point, we would have run this back again fairly quickly. And it's clear that everyone needs time to reset. And we do that, as you said, on the other shows. I think we're going to take a full look at what the group looks like in a period of time and figure out what we want to do next. And that may mean that certain people have to make decisions as well. We don't want anyone to do the show if it doesn't make sense for what they are now, from where they are now. Typically, we've shot in the early part of July around there, so we would be in pre-production basically starting next week. And I don't think that would be great. I don't think there would be enough time. So I think we as the show will gather ourselves, look at what we want to do, and that will be informed by what everyone individually wants to do, and then we'll figure out what the path is going forward. It's exactly right. I mean, it kind of nailed it. You know, it's different than other seasons. You got to give that time to let it reset and figure out what this show is going to be in the future and who these people are going to be, not only to themselves, but to each other. Question. What have your conversations been with Ariana about returning? She recently said that she has to see if a return makes sense. And he says, we're respectful of her determining whether this makes sense for her. We're still figuring out exactly what it is that we plan to do. And that will in part be informed by our conversations with all cast members, including her. I'm sure also production budget. She's focused on a lot of other things right now, so we can have those conversations, but she's busy. She opened up a sandwich shop, Love Island, Broadway. I think it's hard to get too heavily involved in conversations before you're talking about something that is a little bit more serious and concrete. But look, if we were to have come back in the summer, she's booked and busy, and good for her. Question: if season 12 does end up being a reset, could you sorry, I fucking hate online articles, you guys. The amount of like pop-up ads that you have to you have to like dance around. You're like, I'm trying to read this article and like one pop-up ad after another keeps popping up. Anyway, okay, question. If season 12 does end up being a reset, could you see the show go on with some version of this cast? Maybe not all of them, and maybe some new faces to shake things up. And Alex says, I think that's definitely possible. I think all these things are possible. There's still a strong core there. So I could totally see some version of the bulk of the cast returning and then some notable additions. I think there's plenty of life. What form that takes, I don't exactly know, but that's certainly very possible. Question: the audience is never privy to the cast post-reunion comments. Lala Kent after the reunion ended also sounded like she may be reevaluating. Is this typically how they sound after a reunion? Lala was reevaluating. Alex says, I've learned not to make too much of the moment right after the reunion because that was so emotional and so cathartic that I think that spoke to what she was thinking at the time. I don't think you could pin her down on just that. We definitely take note of it, but if we had to field the show based on people who were excited about running it right back after the reunion, we would have a very small cast. I've gotten a lot of post-reunion resignation notices in my time. That means like people quitting right after a reunion. Didn't Rinna do that? And sometimes they reflect, sometimes genuinely coming to an end, and other times they don't. And they just reflect the moment. The next stretch of time will really tell all. So basically saying, whatever Lala threatened or whatever, let's give it time. Give her time to think about it, sit with it. She's going to feel differently potentially. Question: Ariana was in such a different place this reunion compared to last year. Watching her reaction to the final moments of the episode and telling Tom Sandoval she just wants him out of his life, what change have you seen in her? Alex says, last reunion was after she recently discovered a clandestine affair that took place over many months. And I think she was incredibly brave and strong to go to the reunion. And then a year later, she's been through a lot. I think she was not completely over it because, as you noted, this was only a couple months later, but I think she was emerging from the cocoon. That's what you saw. She has accomplished a tremendous amount personally and professionally over the year. And I think she is in a completely different place. She has a bunch of new opportunities and she's going to have to figure out what she wants to prioritize, where her time and energy is going to go, and whether it makes sense for her to continue. And I think a lot of that will depend on where she is in a few months and then what the outlook for the show is and who is involved. So that's very diplomatic. And you can tell this dude is a really good producer that's been doing it for a long time because he gives such diplomatic answers and will tease certain things, but keep other things so diplomatic. Like never too effusive in praise for anybody. And I do wonder if he sometimes even gets annoyed at like, man, all of a sudden I'm getting asked a lot of Ariana questions this year. What the fuck? Question: Lisa Vanderpump related how she walked away from Beverly Hills to Ariana when telling her that sometimes walking away is what someone needs to do. That's the most we've seen her open up about her exit. And Alex says that's how raw the end of the reunion was. It made everyone on stage take stock of where they are and what they've been through. But they're also very different experiences. One of them was sharing a stage with someone who did something she simply cannot move on from and cannot forgive. And another was Lisa, just feeling like she didn't want to be in a situation with a group of friends at that point in her life. So very meta on one hand, but I also think really important for explaining where everyone was coming from emotionally. There's where you are in your life and where you are on the show. And for Ariana, the tough thing is that in her life, she was trying to move on from Tom. And then she was a part of a show where she comes into contact with him regularly, whereas Lisa was just ready to cut the group out of her life. And that just meant leaving the show. So Ariana was more entangled. Question: as the showrunner also on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, how many times have you tried to get Lisa back even for a cameo? And he says, I think that has sort of run its course because I think that's a show where Lisa and that group of friends has moved on. It's one of those things where you can't go back in time, and that's what I would say. But it was a hell of a run. I'm so disappointed in this answer, and I almost wonder if Alex put this answer out so Lisa could see it and be like, "Well, I will come back then. How dare you say the book is closed on that? It's never I say when the book is closed." Question: the Vanderpump finale and reunion blew through the fourth wall. Does it make you nervous or excited that the show can blur that line more now? And Alex says, I thought we needed to obliterate the fourth wall to tell the story because the dilemma was about the lines, if any, between your real life and the show. And for Ariana, that was spending time with someone she wanted out of her life and for the sake of the show. So I do hope going forward there is not that same distinction. And I don't think there would be. These were extraordinary circumstances, so we'll continue to break the fourth wall where we need to in order to tell the real story, but I don't anticipate us heading down the path where the show is about being on the show. I don't know how I feel about this answer, but I don't know. He continues, we want to stay grounded in the show being about everyone's shared experience together as a group of friends. See, that's going to be hard though, because these people aren't genuine group of friends anymore. You can't do that. It's got to be about the show and I don't know. I just, unless you find a way to get Ariana out of there and Katie potentially, I mean, like this, it doesn't make sense. I don't know. Do you guys agree? There was no other doing that because fundamentally, this is what Ariana was talking about. She was saying, this is my life. This person is not in my life. And the argument on the other side was, well, actually, you've chosen to continue on the show. So he is in your life. You had to give voice to both of those things. But I do hope we veer back to the more conventional way we made the show, where the focus is on what happens between them and not their existence on a show together. See, I feel like this show could go into the stratosphere again. I feel like you could almost bend the rules of reality and create a whole new form. Like I get excited when I hear like, don't go back to conventional. We're far past conventional. Have you tried something about her sandwich yet? He says, no, the lines are on the block. I'll get one soon. Whether Ariana returns or not, is there more to mine from Tom Sandoval, or do you think he has run his course? And he's like, I think there's a lot of story left to tell. It's tough. We'll see where he goes from here. He's in a new relationship. He's touring with his band. I think he's figuring out what his life looks from here. I don't know exactly what that means. Look, he's someone who provokes a strong reaction as anyone right now, but it seems there's a continual interest in what he's doing. I wouldn't say he has run its course. Oh, he definitely hasn't run its course. He's like the funniest thing on the show. And it's unfortunate, but he is. And then he goes, what did you think about his viral New York Times interview? And Alex says, oh God, I think that was tough. In trying to tell his side of the story, he said a bunch of really regrettable things. And I think that all piled on this season. The net effect of that was that the audience had started to potentially feel like they wanted to give him another chance. And then had a really hard time doing that. So I think that all really worked against him. It's the same thing time and time again. And there was a lot of unfortunate and self-inflicted things that certainly didn't help. That's exactly it. They gave him rope to save himself, and he used that rope to hang himself because he kept doing things that he didn't give permission to do, and he would hang himself time and time again, whereas the audience would start to like try to see his perspective, and then he would just ruin it all over again. Question, would you say you have a timeline on when you will start making decisions on season 12? We don't have a definite timeline, he says. It isn't indefinite at the same time. We're not under any version of the ticking clock. I imagine we'll know more later this fall. Question, could you ever imagine Vanderpump ending here? And he goes, no. On the other hand, I can't believe it's been 11 years. On the other hand, it feels like it's been 111 years. That show has had many lives, and so I'm not sure this is the last one, but it certainly to date has been a hell of a run. How are the ratings? He says really strong. And that's an indication that the audience interest is still there. I don't think the audience wants to watch the exact same show we just made. They never do. We wouldn't want to make the same show, and that show might not work for the people who are in it. We will take a thorough, it's like more of the same. We'll look at our options. We'll be fresh, different. We don't know exactly what that is, but we'll figure it out. This season, the only mystery, he says, was whether Rachel was going to come back. We knew we were going to continue telling that story, and it felt like there was a finality at the end of the season and then at the end of the reunion because that story has been told. But that doesn't mean that's where the entire book ends. Yes, exactly. Sandoval, I think, is over. It'll still be referred to so many times, but maybe this part of it is over. Question, you launched the Valley, Jax and Brittany split. It was like a mini Sandoval 2.0 in the sense that your cameras fired back up and a new trailer was cut. How surprised were you? He says, I've been more surprised before. I think we saw their strain over production on the Valley this year. I was more surprised by the timing of it because I thought they would have made it through the show's premiere or even the entire season, but I think they just simply couldn't because the tension was too great. It's all sort of burst open when it did. Do you foresee a similar conflict with Jax and Brittany on the Valley, or do you think they will be able to keep filming together? He goes, it's a little different because Ariana and Tom was so extreme. She had cut him out of her life apart from the fact that, as Lala pointed out, they live together. It's very different for Jax and Brittany because, among other things, they share a child. So they are still in each other's lives, and they do still have the same friend group. Ariana and Tom had the same friend group in an extended sense, but part of the challenge was they didn't have the same friends within the same friend group. So that's different with Jax and Brittany. They are more connected whether they like it or not. And I think it's different, too, because I think Brittany and Jax have been waiting for this opportunity for so long and they don't want to blow it. So they are more willing to play ball. That's the feeling I get. What are your future plans for the Valley? He says, we're very encouraged by the debut of the Valley. I think it's established itself in its own right. I know there's a ton of speculation. Oh, these damn pop-up ads are going to be the death of me. The death of me, y'all. Did I just give a y'all? Um, he says, okay, the Valley, great cast. I would imagine you'll continue to see crossover between Vanderpump Rules and the Valley, like I said about Scheana, but that cast is bursting at the seams. It's not like we're in need of additional cast members. Between Jax and Brittany, Jesse and Michelle, and a whole bunch of other developments, we really have a great focus for that show, and we're excited about running that back. God knows, if we had cameras up right now, there would be a ton to cover, and there will be when we do. So that's a great production thing of just letting us know of like, they've got the building blocks. They don't need to add. The formula's not broken. You know, they can do some crossovers, but we got plenty to focus on. What can you then tease about the next season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? He says, Beverly Hills is bananas. It's off to a great start. Obviously, there's a lot going on publicly in their personal lives, but there's a new, fresh energy. They were all just on a trip together this weekend, and it was all the things. It was bonding and healing and dramatic, and it shifted relationships in ways that aren't expected. I could not be more excited about where that's headed. Man, that's got to be so excited to do what he does. It's got to be so hard, but man, how exciting. How are the new cast additions fitting in on Beverly Hills? And he says, let's see here. Boz St. John is fearless. So she's come in. She fits in. She's very bold. Kathy Hilton is in her full glory and is great and funny and wacky and is Jennifer Tilly. So there's a ton of fun. I think it's really funny. And it's also raw and real, really off to a gangbuster start, he says. What about the OGs, Kyle and Doute, who have each gone public with their marital separations and who were fractured in their friendship when we last saw them? He says there's a lot of water under the bridge, so I would say they're figuring out what's going on with them personally, but they both have very strong feelings. They have let each other know what they think right out of the gate. Woo! Beverly Hills. I'm kind of excited for Beverly Hills. Coming out of the 2023 strikes and other conversations about creating fair and safe spaces in the unscripted space, how has this past year prompted you to make changes on your reality shows? It says much was made about the new protocols for NBC Universal shows, Reality Reckoning, shout out. But the truth is that we've taken a really ongoing and progressive view of how we make these shows. We've just continued to just make sure we've been being conscientious. Guys, my mouth is like conscientious. Fuck, forget it. And responsible. There's additional scrutiny, but we're continuing to evolve as we made these shows over the years anyway. So we're constantly monitoring the safety, well-being, and health of everyone involved, notwithstanding some of the headlines or unfortunate things do happen. I think that people would be surprised by the level of responsibility that is shown throughout the productions. A lot of the crews and the staffs have been on the show for many seasons, so there's an open dialogue with the group who is making the show and cast in the show to make sure that everyone feels comfortable. We aren't immune from the headlines, but there are systems that we put into place anyway, and they all seem to be working pretty well. So no question directly about Rachel Leviss and her lawsuit, but boom, Alex Baskin. I got to tell you, Alex Baskin is a dream interview of mine. I don't know if he would I think we've tried to get him before. I mean, I would eat both of my shoes and my underwear to talk to Alex Baskin. Man, dream interview. Anyways, you guys, that's it. Congratulations. You did it. You finished the season. We did it together as a family. We're not fractured, just they are. Those goofballs. I'm sure we'll be talking to many Vanderpump Rules stories in the future, but thanks for hanging in with me. Stay with me. We got plenty of things coming up. Oh my God, I'm just kind of realizing I don't have to recap. This is wild, guys. This takes up so much of my life. This is so wild. Anyways, kind of happy. Dedicate obviously all this to Becky Bailey, my mom. The first season of Vanderpump Rules, she has not been able to see. And she was so tickled in her last months of her life about Sandoval. And I made her watch so many episodes and watch What Happens Lives with me. And she would just be like, these goofy men. So shout out to Becky Bailey, wherever you are. I hope they have Peacock in heaven. Anyways, I love you guys. Talk to you later.